UN Spacey Wolf Squadron. This is your Wolf Commander Wolf 10. I'm your werewolf. Today, I am a man down. We have Trooper FN 2425 taking care of business on the side right now. But as always, I'm never alone without a wingman. So today, it'll just be possibly me and the lovely Lady of Valor, Leia Plus Size. Say hello, Lady Leia Plus Size.
Oh, everybody who's there. This is Leah Plus Size, your lovely lady of valor. And we're just two of us, but we're going to try to have some fun today.
And fun it shall be. It's a fun stream today, as always. Even with the serious topics, it's always fun. But today, we're actually doing some fun stream today. We're talking about escapism and why we need it. Let me introduce the chat. So far, we have the Maverick Hunter Saint Brian Young Martin being first this time, and he says this stream should be required viewing in writing classes. I don't know
That's kind
about
of
that, man. I don't know
sad.
about that. It's just it's a discussion, yes, but I don't know if it's going to be for educational purposes. But maybe it will. We don't know. You know, I'm sure the lovely Lady about will school us on what escapism is. Maybe she's the teacher and I'm the TA, or maybe we're both the teachers. Who knows? I'm guessing like over the years we become something of pseudo professors. Trooper being the man of plenty of info to drop on us. Schooner being the ever so philosophical professor, and me being the the pseudo Jordan Peterson, with Leia being the pseudo Gina Carano, because from what you've explained in your discussions, or at least in your circles, that people apparently don't think you're a woman enough or black enough to understand the advancements, quote unquote, that we've made in progress. Yeah, right.
Right,
Sure.
yeah.
We have Samuel Oleki here, he says, in his fun dialogue here. Now we play the waiting game. Of course. Of course. I try to I try to hold off again, like I always said. I hold off for you guys to get here in time enough to catch the beginning. At least we don't have to get everybody up to speed. Like I guess every 5 minutes or so, or maybe 30 minutes or so. He also add. Oh, sorry. Before we even go there, let me introduce Melissa Harris
Hello,
and
Melissa.
son, and then we have we have Neil Star actually. Neil Star is here. And he says, "The brilliant star that shines through the night, the wild card in the deck of justice. Rise, our man stands before you. Rise, our man. Rise, our man." Sorry, man. I'm too tired to do the Japanese gibberish. But I will do this. Henshin the go-go, baby! For the lovely, yeah, for the lovely Lady of Valor, for clarification, that was Beautiful Joe, a video game that's kind of like based around movies, if you will, and Tetsunoko style adventures. It was
Okay.
not Tetsunoko. Yeah, excuse me, Tokusatsu, as in Sentai style combat and Sentai style sensationalism, kind of like basically a romanticization of it. Yeah, Neil Star, I think it's high time I started getting better sleep. I haven't been getting good sleep lately. Been on my man period. I'm gonna try not to be as crass as I usually am lately for this stream, but I hold no promises, guys. I mean, this is a fun stream, so anything could possibly happen, and the Lady of Valor will probably follow my example too, or maybe I'll have to follow her example. She'll keep herself restrained, and I'll be able to learn how to be more restrained from now on. And we have Daniel Herron with us, dude. You know what? The many times you've been on here, I need to make it my mission to hop on your stream every once in a while. I caught your stream earlier, but I had to prepare for my stuff. But yeah, dude, for sure, I got hop on your stream or at least guess on your stream, depending on what the topic is. So
Uh,
yeah,
I was I was in his stream. I said hello, Darren. His Star Wars, May the 4th, which was, I believe, when was that, last night? Or I think it was last night, or was it Tuesday night? No, it was Tuesday night. We had the May the 4th stream, and it was a lot of fun. I was with him in that one. Him and
awesome.
Troy there, and another gentleman was there that I can't
Mm-hmm.
remember the name. Forgive me. But it was
Well, I heard
fun.
he's a Scots.
Yeah, he was a Scottish, yeah, a Scotsman, yeah.
I bet I'll have to check the backwatch on that one, especially
hmm
I gotta check the other Captain America backwatches too that
Oh
you
yeah,
guys did.
the one with Civil War. Is that the
I
one?
already saw that one. I already saw that one.
Oh,
I'm talking
okay,
about the Winter Soldier and
the Winter
First
Soldier one.
Avenger.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
Def-
okay.
definitely and definitely yeah, I was gonna bring that up, Melissa Harris. Him and Green Lion Girl next Wednesday, I believe, or the Wednesday after. I forgot which Wednesday. One of those Wednesdays, she's gonna be with him to do the Little Mermaid. So definitely. Oh, that's tonight. Sorry, it's tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I gotta catch. I gotta remember to catch that later on. He says, I never can stay long working, and you're a savage. You are a savage on talking. I can't go 4 hours, dude. It's really all about stamina. Like it's really like if you can I told him this in Professor's stream because he and I had a small conversation during Professor's game stream. I believe it was on Monday or Tuesday. It was one of those days. And I took and he was like man, you went. He's like how long do you usually go? I said 3 to 4 hours. He's like really? He's like man, I can't go that long. Like you are my hero. I said dude, it's really because I'm a talker. I like to talk. It's like it's really all about stamina and how long are you willing to talk for a topic. Like and plus I'm not always alone. So whenever I need a rest, I'll let somebody else take the reign. Mostly Trooper, because he's a talker too. I'm like goodness, man loves talking, which I'm all for. I'm pretty sure we all are talkers in this panel. We I know we try to get our points across, but we feel so strongly about things that we end up interjecting or crisscrossing. You know, but make no mistake, guys, we do enjoy doing what we do, and we do have Angry Green Boss in here too. He says the Wah is here. Exactly. So we're getting a sizable I think we're gearing up to getting a sizable viewership today. Not that I'm looking for that. Not that I'm like looking forward to that. I'm just here to have fun and talk about stuff that we enjoy to escape around. But this time I'm not gonna start this time. I'm actually gonna allow the lay allow. No, I'm gonna be a gentleman and give the floor to the lay of valor here. She will start first. So take it away, lay of valor.
Well, thank you, Commander. Appreciate you. Now I understand that this topic is about why we need escapism. And when I read that topic, the best way for me to answer that is to just use my own life as an example. Escapism is really my favorite genre of film, television, and books. It always has been since I was a wee child. I've always loved that genre. My favorite books have always been fantasy, Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, the Narnia Chronicles, um, mysteries or stories like that. And then television, mostly fantasy, science fiction kinds of shows. And I think the reason for me is because I like to use my imagination. I like to be taken away to far off places and lands and people. I'm beginning to sound like Belle at the beginning of Beauty and the Beast, the cartoon version, where she talks about what the book is about, and she says, "Oh, far off places, daring sword fights, magic spells, and a prince in disguise." And I said, "That is
Yeah,
what
Denzel in
I."
distress. What's a Denzel? Wait, who's the one that asked that? I don't think it was Bill that asked what's a
No,
Denzel.
well, I refer to the cartoon because I don't like the live action one. I don't like the
No, no,
live
I'm not talking
action
about the live
one.
action. I'm talking about the animated.
I don't
I,
think
I,
they say damsel in distress, do they? I don't remember that.
yeah,
I don't,
well, one of the princesses brought up Denzel in distress, and she asked what. Oh, I think it was Kaylee from Quest for Camelot.
yeah, yeah, I think it was that film. I forgot about that. But
Go
I,
ahead.
because I love to use my imagine. Oh, I also forgot about Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. That was the first book I ever read, and
Hmm.
I've always just liked places that stretched my imagination. I like to be
Hmm.
told a story. I've always loved to be told a story. And I just love my imagination, and I like metaphor. The
Hmm.
downside, I think the criticism people have about escapism is they think it's childish or it's not adult or it doesn't deal with issues, but they do, except they're told in a creative way. But they tell the same stories as you would find in a historical novel or a fiction novel. For me, it was just I've never felt the fact that it just made me get through everyday life, just to have that escapism. And I think it's also healthy to have escapism. I think it helps with your daily stress of life. So I think since it's been missing from us or been taken away from us, I think that's a reason why we need to have it because of what it gives to us. And the best way for me to answer that is only for what it does for me. And those are things it does for me. Is that I love to be told a story. I love to stretch my imagination, and I love to read about people and places that are different than my own life. That's the reason I like to do it. You want to get away from the grind of your everyday life, no matter what it was. For me, as a kid, school was kind of boring sometimes, not always, but
Hmm.
sometimes.
Definitely.
So escapism allowed for me to just escape from all that. And it helped me just deal with the everyday life. It just helped me deal with reality much, but it was the opposite of what a lot of people think escapism is.
Hmm.
So that's why I think that we need it because it helped me get through my own life.
Quick
So that's a bit.
question: Have you? I'm sorry. Quick question: Have you ever watched A Little Princess?
Yeah, I think it is based on a book. I did see it.
It is.
Is it The Little Princess? Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did watch that because it reminded me of myself when I was a little girl. So that's why I did watch it because I when I was young, I loved those kinds of stories. That's why I took to Alice in Wonderland and uh the Chronicles of Narnia. Uh, I did see that film. Even though it was made in the 90s, I did see it. The Never Ending Story, all those things. Yeah.
Hmm. I brought it up because the way from what you have described it reminded me of Little Princess, especially what she had to do to get through her hardship and being that little girl orphanage
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
that like yeah, Sarah, I believe her name was in the movie. I'm pretty sure she went by a different name in the book, but it's kind of rough sitting through at least the first 20 to 50 minutes, or at least the first hour of that movie, because it's just it's rough,
Yeah, I
especially when you're
understand.
watching a little child going through what she was going through. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was going to say I was agreed because like I said, I guess I was an introvert. I didn't run with the crowd. I didn't have a lot of friends. I kind of kept to myself. I didn't really fit in. And so I needed yeah, I needed some way of escapism, and or I needed escapism relieved that for me, and it got me through it because to me it kept me out of a depression about not having a large group of friends or not fitting in. It kept me from that because the escapism relieved that. So if I didn't have that with me, I mean, gosh, it helped me get through a lot of stuff that I went through from a kid, even in adolescence, even now as an adult, which I still love very much, escapism. So I think if I didn't have it, I wouldn't be able to cope with it like I did when I was younger, you know, because it wasn't just, I guess, because my interest, I didn't have a lot of friends and I didn't have a lot of people to talk to and I didn't fit in. So to the world around me, so escapism was what I needed to get me through my everyday life. It helped me cope. It did. It really helped me.
Right.
Did I think if I didn't have it, oh gosh, I think I would be a hot mess.
So for me, if I were to add into what you're talking about, for me, it would have been, you know, anything from the '90s, of course, but like specifically, you know, we had uh we had KCET, the KCET section of PBS. Of course, we had PBS, but it would transition to KCET as well. Or no, actually no, those were separate networks. Actually, I had both of those. Actually, I
I
have
watched a
both of
lot of
those to
things.
escape to.
I watched a lot of things on PBS, and that was the thing. When I would be watching PBS, my sisters and her friends were always come in the room and say, "Excuse me, I'm eating some chips." Always come in the room and say, um, "You watch that? I don't know anybody that
Hmm.
watches that. Your sister watches that. All that stuff is fine." But I love to watch PBS because they told good stories. They told good stories either by acting. Back then, I know you didn't watch it, but I watched it. That's how I was introduced to Doctor Who, and I even enjoyed some of the ballets they had because I loved the arts. I loved to be
Yep.
entertained and I loved to see a story. So I would watch the ballets. I would even watch some of the opera. I would watch some of the movies or some of the acting. I love the arts and I love storytelling. So any way they told a story, I was always, whether if they were telling it through dance, I would pay attention to it. I
Hmm.
loved all of that. And yeah, I did. I have no shame, no hide that I watched PBS as well as the other stuff that I enjoyed watching when I was growing up. But even when you
Yeah.
talk about the 90s, yeah, even some 90s stuff I relate to because it never went away even as I got older.
Hmm. Um, I'll list some examples of what I saw when it came down to KCET. Especially with the arts that you mentioned, I did watch a bit of ballet sessions on KCET. Like there were there was one ballet that we me my cousin and my brother seriously thought that the two people dancing were naked, but they were wearing these tan uh mesh
Flesh colored tights kind of thing, or flesh
yeah,
colored outfits. Yeah,
yeah.
leotards or whatever.
We I was like, oh, they're naked. Like, oh no, they're not naked. Okay. So there was that. No, but one or two sequences, animation sequences, one being a stop motion, the other one being East Asian animation. I remember watching. It was this one. I'm gonna call him Pagliacci clown type character that was singing opera. This is gonna get morbid, guys, but there he has his girl clown strapped to the the target in the circus, right?
Hmm.
One of those throwing knife targets, and he's singing and singing. She's got this glum face through and through, and he intentionally just throws a knife into her heart, and she dies, and her
Oh.
blood leaks out, and then suddenly her spirit comes out. Of course, it's almost silhouetted in a way, but you can tell the spirit is naked, of course,
Hmm.
and they embrace and kiss, and it just ends. I'm like, But why? And I'm sitting here as a kid. I'm like, but why do you have to kill her? Then there was a
Yeah.
then get into the East Asian animation. There was this lady, I guess in a outfit, a Chinese outfit. She I think she had a husband and he died in war. And she drew a sword into her. I've seen a lot of morbid stuff, guys. I'm sorry. So
That's
I don't mean
opera
to go
for you.
morbid.
That's opera for you. Operas are
Obviously,
never operas are never happy endings or pretty. They're always some
right?
horrible, detested. Well, that's the thing I said when I saw
Yeah.
um Hamlet on
Mm-hmm.
PBS, which I dreaded because I'm like, okay, everybody's dead and everybody wants to die or everybody wants to run a suicide or kill themselves or Ophelia drowns. Everybody's
Mm-hmm.
dead. Hamlet is de- manic depressive or whatever, and then there's something creepy between him and his mother. And I was like, okay, I get
Hang
it.
on, I'll
That's
be
another
back.
trauma flick. Sure.
Not burnt, but it smells burnt. It's not burnt, but it smells burnt. It's still got water in it. And I've returned. Okay, radio silence there, but we're working through it, guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. I heard you. I said, okay. Okie dokie, you made it back.
Cause yeah, my wife was cooking something. I caught the scent
Ah,
of. It's not
oh.
burnt, but yeah,
It sounds like she's cooking
I
something good.
yeah, it's potatoes. But I
Oh,
let her know what was going on so she can finally get around to it. I already turned on the stove though, so
oh, okay. It
it
sounds
was
like
not. Don't worry, guys. No emergency. Just catching something before it becomes an emergency. Where were we? By the way, I think we're talking about opera. We're talking about PBS.
Right. And
Have
I
you
was,
said your piece already? Because I didn't catch everything that you were talking about.
yeah, you were talking about how morbid some of the operas were, and the ghost and shoots his lover or something,
Yeah,
and
well,
she's just
I didn't
goes,
finish talking about the Asian one that I
oh,
watched when I was a kid, and I vividly still remember it. But I remember the lady in the animation drove a sword to herself, and she turns into a butterfly all of a sudden. It was basically surreal art, very surreal art. I
right.
I I don't remember what else happened after that. I just thought it was actually intriguing. I was a kid that it kept my attention. Of course. Speaking of PBS, one thing I do have to bring up was and I know I said some disparaging things about the man. LeVar Burton's Reading Rainbow was also a form of escapism too, or especially any show that had anything to do with reading,
Oh
like
yeah, I agree.
story time. Story time being one with Kino and all the Latino ladies. Again, let me slam PBS for their whole take on blackness, if you allow me. Yeah, they say that, but we had a whole host of shows that were hosted by Latina women. We had whole shows that were hosted by many other people that were of different races, especially in Sesame Street. The majority of those that got the screen time were black and Latino. You'd be hard pressed to know that there were at least enough screen time with the white characters, if anything. But then again, that's my recollection. So yeah,
Oh no, I
but
agree. That's why I didn't mean to interrupt, but that's why I dismissed this criticism of Sesame Street. Or they're acting like I think they have a black puppet or a black family on there or something, but they're acting like they're doing something so special because the Sesame Street I grew up watching, and I was there, and when it recently started, the one I grew up watching, you had blacks, you had Latinos, you had Native Americans, you had all types of
hmm
characters and people on there, and it was no big deal about the color of their skin. It was never a big deal about the color. We
and did you
just
see
loved
my
the
post?
characters.
Did you see my post about Puzzle Place on the Facebook group?
Yes, I remember that.
I said, hey PBS, while you sitting around talking about race relationships in Sesame Street, why don't you revive this series, the Puzzle Place? The one show that you guys promoted that talked about culture, about different people in culture, about how we all should be respecting other people's culture, how to respect each other as human beings. You touched on a lot of serious topics in that show, and you canceled it. You know what? I'm so glad you guys canceled it when you did, because if you guys were to continue this show, Jody would have been probably a lesbian or non-binary. Sky would probably be talking about how his land was, excuse me, raped by the white man.
Hmm. Hmm.
Leon will be talking about police brutality.
Yes.
Ben will be apologizing for his toxic masculinity and whiteness to everybody at the start of every episode. Kiki will be referring to herself as Latinx. Uh, I'm pronouncing the way how Trooper pronounces it, because that it sounds funny when he says it. But Julie or Julie will be talking about stop Asian hate. And who did I miss out? I think that's everybody. I think I covered just about everybody. And of course, we will remove Nuzzle and Sizzle because we don't want to exploit animals to keep PETA PETA off their backs and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But I try not to. I'm gonna try not to get all negative on this string, as I told Ms. Harris to keep it positive. I'm gonna put that rule into myself as well. Try to keep it positive. But
Well, well.
it's, I'm gonna segue from negativity and go into the positive and talk about fond memories of those shows: Reading Rainbow, Puzzle Place, Story Time, and of course, Melissa brought up Between the Lines. Between the Lines was another one that really kept me in this escapist mood too. And you were going to say something before I go. I want you to get get your words out too as well, Leah. Plus, let's go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that the other issues that you brought up, it's not that you're being negative, but in this day and age, it's very hard not to talk about those certain subjects because particularly this week, they've been in the news lately. But you just can't help it because they're infecting so much of our escapism. But I was just going to say we can save that topic for another time so we can segue into the fond memories of it. But I know how difficult it can be because it seems to be seeping into even escapism now,
Mm-hmm.
political politics. It's very hard to escape it because it's just creeped into everything. But you go. I just wanted to say that. But like you said, we'll deal with that another time. But you go ahead and continue what you were saying about
Mm-hmm.
talking about the positives about that. I'm gonna let you handle that.
Yeah, yeah. Let me tell you about a time, a more civilized time of how PBS graced us instead of Barney and Friends. They graced us with they graced us with amazing shows like Puzzle Place, of course, being the one that really connect me in a way that kind of shaped me on my journey to it kind of shaped me in such a way. Are you doing anything back in the background, Leia?
Oh, I am so sorry. I was opening up a bag of these veggie sticks. If it's bothering you, I can put it off. It's just the guy from the store wrapped this thing up so tight.
Well,
Okay,
that's all.
that's it.
That's his fault. That's not yours.
Oh, okay. He
No,
just wrapped that
I just
thing up.
want. I just want to make sure it's not my imagination.
No, I'm sorry, the guy from the store wrapping up my vegetables, but he put this cellophane on it. Ah, he got it on here, but I got it now, so I'm sorry
Okay,
about
cool.
that. Please continue.
You know, like if you're having trouble there, we can stop the stream now so you can take care of it.
Okay, I got it so far. I got it loose
Yeah.
now. It was more tight than I
Oh,
thought. 'Cause
and let's give praise right now, and I hope I'm not jinxing this, but let's be thankful that your connection is actually working the way it should be working today,
yes,
smoothly for once.
yes,
Because
yes.
you've been having that problems for how many days so far, and so far in other people's streams when you were present, you didn't have that problem. Like dang, you two must really hate Leia plus size being on my stream.
I guess
They
so.
don't want her. They're trying to get her to give up, but you're talking to Leia Valor here. She quit in her in her word unless she really needs to. Let's the good man upstairs tells her
Yes.
to.
Well, fingers crossed. I don't know if I can go all 4 hours today, but
Right.
so far we've been to this like an hour, and no, hopefully not because I got a lot of equipment, a new receiver, and the
Mm,
guy had to come and work on my internet a lot yesterday. I had to have a lot of stuff done. I had to be off of it so do all the things he had to do. But looks like so far, because now I'm working from home now. So
right.
yeah, he really had to fix it up. But looks like to me, so excuse me, so far so good. So it looks like all the work he did is paying off.
Okay. Okay. So let me continue what I was going to say. I brought up puzzle plays. Of course, I brought up Kino's story time. Story time was another good one where I escaped. It actually was the one that actually got me interested in books that I actually went out of my way to read at my school back in elementary. Um, one being I do believe it was Swamp Angel. Yeah, it was Swamp Angel. I remember watching that on Storytime, and I pursued that and watched it. I read it on my own time. Great book, by the way. Kind of like it's a tall tale story in the South about a redhead that she grew 10 foot tall, and she was like super strong. And the biggest highlight of that story is that she got into a tussle with a bear called Thunder and Tarnation, and that thing was almost King Kong size, and I'm talking about original King Kong size. And she fought the bear for like a week or so, and and the fight kind of shaped some of the local area of where she lived. Of course, she won, but like the way how they won the way how she won was because he accidentally killed himself by rolling a tree over his head trying to get the largest beehive on that tree. Of course, they were fighting. Of course, the fight was so great that they fought in their sleep,
Oh,
and they end up Oh, Victoria Fagbot has a question. She asks, "What caused you to choose the name Lady of Valor?" I'm curious. You want to answer that, or should I answer that one?
I think you should answer that one because there's actually a commander that came up with that one. I do remember because I really didn't know
Hmm.
what to call myself. So I'll let you take that one because Wolf came
So
up with it.
here's the kicker, guys. As I was progressing with this series, the Wolf Commander Rambles, you guys know that the theme around it is Robotech, basically Robotech. So it's my imagination running wild. So any member who are a part of the UN Spacey Wolf Squadron, they get a call sign. So for me, it's Wolf Commander. For Leia plus size, judging by her personality and her mannerisms and her thought process, I chose Leia Valor because one, her love for Captain America, who who's who has who's more valiant than the captain himself. Uh, Also, Iron Will, the strength. Okay, let me stop right there because she's blushing. She's blushing now.
You know that? No, I'm just going to say, what I mean by Captain America, I mean Steve Rogers.
Of course.
Yes, I better make that clear. It's Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
Continue.
So
See,
yeah,
I'm blushing.
Lady Valor was yeah, Lady Valor was the call sign I thought of her because she came up to me. She's like, I don't know what to call myself. I was like, I got some ideas. Lady Valor being the one at the top, and she's like, I like Lady Valor just as fine. I was like, very well, then you are the Lady of Valor. Just like how Brian Gil Martin is the Maverick Hunter Saint, mostly due to because his love of Mega Man, and I'm appealing to his uh his Christianity as I'm appealing to everybody else's Christianity. In the case of Lady of Valor, Valor also runs hand in hand with Christianity too. In the case of Owen, the Guyver Patriot, so his love of the Guyver and all things patriotic. So there was a picture he shared on Twitter where he celebrated Independence Day. Of course, he had the American flag with him, and he saluted, of course, with the left hand, which I gave him a slight grief on him about it. Not too harshly. I just like I'm gonna overlook the fact that you're saluting with your left hand, but this right here I love you with the flag because he was holding the flag and stuff. But anyways, he's the guy for Patriot because of those. Um, for schooner tuna, well, just a schooner of the tuna. I'm like you got me in the impasse here, so I'm just gonna keep it simple. Schooner of the tuna. Uh, in his case though, um, for his avatar when I designed his avatar, I based it around his cadence, which is coming to you live from a basement, a secret basement in the middle of nowhere with good Wi-Fi. So, and you know he signs off by bloop 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 bloop. So I think hmm, maybe a marine type, alien type creature with a bit of a he says good Wi-Fi. So I'm gonna give him these flipper antenna, those red things sticking out of his head. By the way, if you saw the artwork of his character, that actually creates sound waves, if you will. So that and I based his clothing attire around Aquaman, the specifically the Throne of Atlantis design. If you saw Throne of Atlantis, Leia plus size.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got
So
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and of course one of our original members who is not with us but will be with us in spirit, Ivan Mendoza. I called him the traveling immaculate scribe, mostly because he I like to see him as a chronicler of me and his experiences and time together, or at least adventures together. You know, I'm going to be getting ready his avatar pretty soon when I get around to doing it. Trooper, I got something for him definitely, but I like to I try to make a cadence around his, but like I play it off as a running gag that I always keep changing it up every time. It's never consistent, right? As you guys noticed, I play that up as a joke, like the man, the myth, the man with the FN and the number 2525, Trooper FN 2525. So it's like that's the whole that's the whole joke right there. It's he's got so many he's got legend, you know, to his name. So yeah, just to answer your question, sorry it was long winded, Victoria fact about I chose the name because yeah, we're going with the theme here. Specifically, you know, we're pilots on the super dimensional fortress of Robotech. Now, are you familiar with Robotech, Leia plus size? Aside
is
from the
I
aside from
know
the
you
symbol that's my avatar right now.
explained it to me before, but is it based on a video game or cartoon or Because
It is a
if
cartoon, specifically anime, and
okay,
in it deals in the guerrilla warfare, kind of like think of it as kind of World War I in space, sort of, kind
okay,
of. But
I
it also deals with guerrilla warfare as well, because the main characters, or at least the main heroes, get slingshot towards Pluto, and they have to get back to Earth as soon as possible on their super dimensional fortress. And all the while, while they're doing that, they're fighting the enemy while trying to maintain resources. So that was like the first half of the story.
yeah, I think you explained it to me when you were just creating our avatars. You explained about it. Now I've heard of it. I have to admit, I haven't seen enough episodes to know it. I'm still catching up with a lot of anime stuff. So there are a
Hmm.
lot of shows I may have missed, but I am catching up to. But I am aware of it. I know what it is. I've seen, some clips and images of it. So I'm
And
on the same page with you of your concept.
oh, here's the thing. Brian Gil Martin has to clarify. He says, "Never thought of myself as a religious person, though I guess my values do intersect with Christians." Actually, it's twofold on the saint part. I'm also tying you to Saint Seiya as well, which is what was going with your design as the Maverick Hunter Saint, a mixture of Mega Man and Saint Seiya. So if I got that mixed up, then take it as me also intersecting with you with Saint Seiya as well.
Trust me, he'll
Sorry,
he'll know what he's doing. That's okay. Oh, that's okay.
yeah, I
Go
was
ahead.
reading some of the comments real quick,
Oh, sure. Go
and
right ahead.
I'm
Go
gonna
right
scroll
ahead.
back up so we can
We did quite a few talking, so
dig
you
into.
probably got quite a few comments in there. So yeah, go right ahead.
Mm. Yeah, Neil Star says, to be fair, Beautiful Joe was also in Tetsunoko versus Capcom. Yeah, the reason why I had to clarify, because Tetsunoko is a company. That's not the style of of story that Beautiful Joe is supposed specifically derived from. Like Tetsunoko is basically where Kairos comes from, Battle for the Planets, Gatchaman, and excuse me, that's the roommate's phone ringing in the background.
Oh, okay.
Um, we're not gonna answer that, but yeah, they can give them a message. Anyways, it's gonna be annoying, so right through it. Woosah, woosah, woosah. Grass is greener, grass is greener. It's distracting me, guys. I'm sorry. It's kind of distracting me. Okay, it's gone. I'm like a, I'm really a wolf, guys. Like things can distract me. Like a slight sound or a slight smell will instantly just catch my attention, and I must investigate. That's just how my body functions sometimes. But no, what I was gonna say was, Tetsunoko was a company where Viewful Joe derived from, and specifically Battle for the Planets, of course Power Rangers. They come from Sentai, but the technical term is Tokusatsu. The production, I think it's production. I could be wrong. Y'all can correct me in the comments. We got a lot of experts in these comments, which I do appreciate your guys' knowledge. Let me see some other comments I want to check out real quick. Victoria Fagball says, "Listen to music is kind of my escapism." That's
Oh, mm-hmm.
I'm sure you know what, that's a universal thing. That's a universal thing. Everybody loves to listen to music. I will say this too. Depending on what you listen to, also shapes your perspective on life too as well. So be aware of that.
Well, I
Be
like
aware of
to
that.
listen to. I have quite a bit of like Birdman. I have quite a bit of collection of movie soundtracks. So
Oh,
movie
nice.
to a movie soundtrack gives me escapism because the music takes me back to the movie. So if it's a really good soundtrack, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Richard Donner's Superman, the Cat movies, they all take me back to the film through the music. So, like I said,
Right.
escapism is a broad subject. So I get it as well. I pop it in.
I'll actually
create
share a
something.
bit of personal things too as well. Uh, every time I step outside, I play all sorts of music as I'm walking, and every time I do that, I it helps me get ideas for the worlds I'm creating. I like to imagine what the UN Spacey Wolf Squadron will be doing in this very moment, while the big greats are doing their own thing, right? So they're like, say for instance, I'm writing a story in my head, and there's an arc, right, where the Wolf Commander disappears, and the UN Spacey has to function without him. Are you following me, Leia plus size?
Yes, I'm listening. Go right ahead.
Okay.
Tell your story.
Uh, I want to map out that as a comic scene, right?
Hmm.
And much like Brooklyn and Gargoyles, I would have the Guyver Patriot step up to the plate as leadership. Owen being that I hope he has been, watching these on the back watch every once in a while. But yeah, that's for you, buddy. If you catch this, that's for you. Like if I had to leave and step off Wolf Commander Rambles, you will be the next Wolf Commander. Pretty sure he'll be hesitant about it, but I got good faith in him that he'll pull through. Pretty sure there are times he oftentimes think of what would Wolf Tan would do, or there'll be times I'll get ready an origin story for where the wolf comes from, which is the Wolf Commander's werewolf form. They suppresses something like that. Be an arc where he actually confronts the origins, or at least his own people. You know, I walk and I just like
Hey,
I'm just I'm just the idea guy. But what you gonna say, Leia?
but I think we all do that, even when, like for me, when we're watching, our favorite heroes or our favorite story, we may either imagine ourselves as one of them, and it doesn't mean they have to look like us. As other groups may think they have to look like us for us to imagine ourselves as them.
Hmm.
No, growing up, I didn't need that. I didn't need to have the characters I love look like me or walk like me or talk like me for me to imagine myself as them. And or we imagine that we're in that we are part of that world that we like, whether it be anime or what a video game, or maybe we imagine ourselves as that warrior in that video game, or we imagine ourselves as, one of the mutants or whatever fighting against the greater good. So all of us have done that, and like you yourself, imagining the history of whatever the wolf, your alter ego, takes you, whatever adventures he has. So I think all of us have done. That's what escapism is. That's why we love it. Why do you think everybody how Halloween has become such a big thing over the years? It's because it's a form of escapism for some people to pretend
Hmm.
to be something that, or or the all the comic cons when the cosplayers come and they are dressed as their favorite character. Doesn't mean you have to look like that character. That seems to be, again, I don't want to be a downer, but there is this theory that, well, you can't like or dress like a character or this look exactly like you. That is hogwash. Do you know how boring it would
Hmm.
be at some of these cons or Halloween if we all dressed up like characters look like us? Boring. So that's what escapism is all about.
I want to add to that too. It's like they're trying to put a collar on you. I hate to use
Exactly.
that terminology. I really hate to use that terminology. It sounds like they're trying to put a collar around you, shackle you to one group. They it's like they're
Yeah.
saying you ought to be pretend you ought to stay playing a broke black man, or in the case
Right.
of Leia plus size, you should be being gyrating on the stage and bumping cuckoos against another woman. See,
Yeah.
see, see. I'm
Uh-huh.
showing restraints
Yeah.
there, guys. I
That's
usually
okay.
say
That's
the other
okay.
crass word
Okay.
that we ghetto folk usually address the
Mm-hmm.
woman's
Mm-hmm.
private area.
Mm-hmm.
But
Or
yeah, like
being
go ahead.
No, I said also being a female and being full figured. I guess they expect me to come in and do a Monique monologue everywhere I go. I'm not putting Monique down, but you see what I'm saying? That I
That's
yeah.
one woman I'm willing to listen to because I will say this. I gotta give Monique props for
Mhm.
this, but she did a good job of encouraging plus size women to really go out and do something with themselves, especially when she got up on stage and she had her good friend, I forgot her name, but you got all those other plus size women just doing the dance and stuff.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah. I think it was at I don't know if was it the BET Awards? She did that?
I think it was the
Yeah.
BET Awards, and
No, you
she
want
was up on stage with those ladies doing those dance, just proving to the world that big women can also do it just the same as skinny women.
I agree. That was I saw that what that was an empowering moment to me. That really got me off. I agree with you. She
had
did.
had had had, had
Yeah.
looking so crazy playing in the background. I was
Yeah.
you. I'm like, you gonna do that, Monique? You gonna do that?
Oh, that was everywhere. That was all, yeah, that was all over the world and
I'm like,
everywhere. I
I'm
agree
like,
with
girl,
you
you gonna do that?
1000%. She had them, they had their little short skirts on,
Yep.
showing their legs. They didn't hide their big legs. They got out there, but they were moving.
And
They were not,
the crowd went wild. They
yes,
that was man, that was history made. That
that
was
was,
history made.
that was
Now, now,
on that. I
now
agree
she,
with
now
you.
she, now, now she did kind of get on my nerves with when her usual stick is always challenging the skinny women. I'm like, stop, girl. You improved your point on stage. I, girl, I've been paying attention since your show, The Parkers.
Yeah, I was
You
a big
you
fan
the
of that
biggest
show.
you the biggest highlight of that. I never cared about your daughter. I cared about you.
I was a fan
I
of
mean,
it myself.
I love Kim just the same. But I love Kim when she was on Moesha, not on the
Hmm.
Parkers. You know.
Yeah, yeah, I still watch it with time to say. You now that is a good example. Thank you for bringing that up because that is a good
Hmm.
example of an empowering moment because of
That's
what
because
she
I
did on the
remember the
BET.
good stuff that actually did not make me groan
Because
when they
what
when they
that oh, I
go
didn't
ahead.
mean to interrupt. Go ahead. Oh, I
No,
didn't
go
mean
ahead.
to interrupt because it did two things. Like you said, it gave us confidence, and two, it also told us we could get up off our butts and start moving too, no matter what it was. If it was dancing or sports or anything, and that's what I mean by how you do an empowering moment. So I totally agree with you. That was the talk of the town. That inspired myself, and you're right about that. That was a big moment because at that time she did it right. And that's what I mean by that's how you empower. That's how you get them. And see, they've lost that now. They've lost that
Yep.
now. When that's what I was talking about when we were I'm just gonna deviate a little bit and then we'll get back on track. When I was talking about a positive view of body positivity, that was body positivity to me.
I'm actually
That's why I
gearing
said
up
it was
to
different.
for us to have that conversation another time. Body positivity. I want to hear.
Right.
I would definitely would like to hear Schooner's take on it as well because I know he everybody has something to bring to this table in
Oh
this panel.
sure. Oh sure.
That,
Absolutely.
and that's one thing I hope people have noticed. I'm not the type of person that's going to shut down anybody who's not the same race as me or not the same figure as me. Like everybody has an opinion. Now that doesn't mean I have to always listen to it. By the way, but everybody has a chance to step up to the plate. And it's like I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that probably catch the stream that the social progressives I'm speaking specifically about. Why is these
Mm-hmm.
why are these two black folk letting these two white dudes talk down upon them? I'm like, excuse me,
Mhm.
sweetheart. They're not talking down upon me. They are talking, and I'm listening. You should learn that. That's what you should be learning. You need to learn to listen and not think that somebody's talking down on you all the time. If you listen, you would know that somebody's not talking down upon you. Unfortunately, you are doing that because you think somebody else is doing it. But let me stop. Let me stop. Let me get us back on track because there I'm getting myself started. I'm getting myself started there. But
Oh,
I want to read Melissa Harris's comment real quick.
sure.
So my son and me love Alice in Wonderland, Wizards of Oz, books, books. Goosebumps, Ghost of Fear. Don't know about that one. Street Captain. Don't know about the. Oh no. Ghost of Fear Street. Okay. Captain Underpants, the Narnia series, and Win in the Wills. Oh, I love Win in the Wills. Have you ever
I did too.
what have you guys heard of Frog and Toad? By the way,
Yes.
little mini books about a frog and a toad, and they have these little weird social gathering. Not in weird social gatherings. They had these nice social gatherings that tend to go get out of control sometimes, but they always pull through. They one would think that they were potentially gay lovers, but they're not. They're actually just good
Oh
friends that
goodness.
enjoy each other's company. I'm saying the modern media would probably see that like oh that means they're gay. No, no, that just means they're very good friends that enjoy each other's companies. See, little kids, Papa Squat here. Back in the days, men go to men's house to talk about the good old days. Sometimes men go to man's house to talk about the ladies they like. Sometimes men go over man's house to have a coffee and just talk. It is no other ulterior motive behind that. It's just simple. There's nothing complex about it. It's just simple. We go to each other's house and we either talk shit, excuse me, or we just reminisce and tell stories or talk about, the past. Still waiting for that special friend that I tend to go over and visit. I don't get that many that these days. But I still have my wife. I still have my wife. I still love her. I'm you guys can't see it, but I'm looking over my shoulder. I kid,
You're
I
being a.
kid.
I
What
was
you're
gonna say,
saying, Leia?
I was going to say, Melissa, I forgot to mention Greek mythology. Yes, I love to read the classic Greek myths as well. I just watched a special on Amazon Prime that broke down those Greek myths. I enjoyed it a lot. It was narrated by the late, and his name slips my mind, but he played Bilbo Baggins in the Lord of the Rings film, the older version.
Ian Holmes.
Ian Holmes, yeah, he narrated this special where he broke down the Greek myths and retold them with different types of animation, and I loved it. So I just want to say to her, yes, Greek myths are great as well.
I got deep into Greek mythology thanks to high school and being taught Greek mythology. So I was like really looking up. Of course, I was already actually I was hip deep into it in middle school, and I read the picture Odyssey to some extent. Like the books that I was reading about the Odyssey, I would say they kind of go abridged a bit because there's some things that they leave out, but there's some things it tells extensively enough. They never told me that he had a dog that wait for him and he died. They didn't tell me that
Oh,
until I got my hands on a graphic novel about the Odyssey that actually
the Odyssey.
went
Yeah.
went extensively. I'm like, wait, he had a dog that wait for him and died. Oh, that's sad, but that's good to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that the mini books that I read that detailed the Odyssey was detailed enough, and the artwork was really good. So it kept my attention going, and really really the one takeaway I took from that story was the fact that I felt sorry for I kind of pity Odysseus's men. Like he came home by himself.
Hmm.
He ca-
But he don't.
he sailed to yeah he sailed to Troy, fought the war. Probably lost a few men there too. But
Hmm.
he was coming back with a group of men, and he lost all of them. Those men who were his friends. Yes, some lost their lives due to stupidity. M- Most of the time, it's due to their stupidity. But there was also things that happened to them that weren't really their fault. Especially when you get to
Right.
Skyla and Tripter. I'm mispronouncing Tripter, but that's a hard name to pronounce. But Skyla, if
Oh,
there was like, did you ever see the miniseries of the Odyssey
yes, I did. Yes, yes, and
with Vanessa Williams as Calypso?
right, I did see that.
Oh
I
my goodness, we watched that in middle school, I believe. I think we watched that
Oh,
in middle school.
mm-hmm.
There were two things that stuck out to me in that mini series: the Cyclops and Skyla. And man, oh man, that was rough to watch. That's
Oh, the
like
Cyclops.
especially yeah. Go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go on, go on, and
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
the Cyclops. Go on.
Yeah, when Cyclops, when he eats one of the man, you see what's left of him. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That scarred me as a kid. And I went home after that. I had to go home from school after that. And that was the thing that was still stuck in my head, even as I ate dinner. And then what topped that, and I'm surprised that it topped that because I was kind of actually excited to see what they were going to do with Skyla. Boy, what I was not prepared. I was never prepared for that scene, especially when the way how they did it. Of course, the
Yeah,
effects is kind of when you look at it now, the effects is kind of bad, but the
yeah.
animatronic that they did for it was actually brilliant. But seeing that thing scoops up someone up and there's blood at from where they stood, and it damaged most of the ship when they bite down on one of the men. My goodness, and seeing the body being chewed up in the mouth.
Oh, that's.
Yeesh. That
I can see him.
again.
Yeah.
That was rough. That was rough. I'm actually shaking right now thinking about that.
I think the miniseries did a good job of showing the monsters of that story of the Odyssey, the monsters that he came in contact with. Like you said, the special effects are kind of dated now, but it kind of reminded me of what Clash of the Titans, which kind of was is on the similar that vein, the classic older version, and then the remake, which a remake I didn't like that much. I think the remake relied too much heavily on the CGI and less on telling the story. So, but I like how it told the story of Perseus and his journey, and in this special, but the special that ran on Amazon Prime talked about parts of the story that maybe were left out. Like he went back to like Perseus' beginning and how he came to be. But I can see as a child how that would probably have you scarred a bit. But it was escapism. But
Hmm.
it was still a very good escapism. When you watched it, did you
Yeah,
have to watch it for class, or was it part of your
yeah.
education, or it was
Yeah.
just?
It's part of education because these days back in the '90s, basically they do to get the lectures, they do get the work, but I guess what their style of the style at the time was also giving us a visual of what
Mm-hmm.
the lesson what the study was like. Say for instance, we watched Schindler's List in high school during U.S. history when we're talking about the Holocaust, when we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about World War II. As far as World War II is concerned, I don't think they ever recommended any teacher to any movie that they would have us watch to check out for that matter. I think that was a hard sell to find at least a one World War II movie that actually kind of give us a bit of a accurate history.
Right.
Aside or that or they couldn't that or they couldn't acquire Tora, which would have been the right fit for covering Pearl Harbor instead of Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor, which is yeah, we
Yeah.
don't talk about
Yeah.
that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Or like if we're talking about any Beyonce's U.S. relations that that kind of, in Africa, Tears of the Sun, and Hotel Rwanda, which I hope Nick Hodges is going to cover Hotel Rwanda, but he's been silent for a while, and I'm just sitting here waiting for him to sort some things out. Well, actually, no. Recently, he did Bohemian Rhapsody, actually, and that's as far as he's going to go. I don't know what his schedule is, or what he's got to deal with. For me, I would say, yeah, just continue to keep taking care of business on that front, Nick Hodges. I'm patient. I am very patient. So you basically delivered Bohemian Rhapsody. So good to know that you're alive. I've been worried about you, buddy. If you ever catch this stream at the hour mark, right here, hour and 5 minutes, shout out to you, boy. You do a great job with your history buffs show, and of course, congratulations on reaching the uh the 1,000 subscriber count. I think that's meant to earn you the plaque. I don't know. I don't care. Or at least I'm just happy for him. I'm just happy for him.
That's
But
good.
again, if whatever you got going on, Nick, do your best to take care of it. Take care of you first before you take care of us. I'm not the one who's rushing you. I will not be the one who's rushing you either. So I'll be waiting patiently when you come back. But I'm comfortable enough rewatching your stuff like reruns. Um, Let me segue from history a bit, and get into some stuff that I also actually you mentioned, but I still would like to talk about. Excuse me, give me a minute. I'm gonna mute myself real quick. Had to clear my throat there. I don't want to cough in everybody's mouth, and it was gonna be loud too. It was gonna be loud. Excuse me. Let me drink something. Mm,
Take your time.
okay. I think my throat is fine now. And let me check MeWe. See. Oh, Trooper messaged me. All right. Let me see if he's gonna pop in with us. Let me message him real quick.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure. Listen a minute.
I'm gonna message. Yeah, I'm gonna message him real quick. And I'll wait for his reply. Or maybe he'll pop in. That will be his reply. I don't know what he's gonna say, but I'm all for it.
He will have something philosophical to say for sure.
Oh, Sam Proctor has something for Pearl Harbor. He says, my history teacher just skipped to the Pearl Harbor battle and the Michael Bay one. Then she went on a rant on the sexism of the love story that she skipped.
Ah, she skipped the best part of the
Sex.
film.
I'm taken aback by that last line. Sexism in the love story in that movie. What was so sexist about that?
Yeah, somebody educate me to that.
It was a product of the time that they were living in. I'm like, Sam Proctor, give me a brief explanation of what she meant by the sexism in the love story. Matt Newey says some things generally are dated, some things do not age well at all. Yeah, well, that varies. That varies.
Yeah, I don't mean what she means for the
Your mic kind of cut down a bit. What were you saying,
Oh, okay.
Leia?
I'm sorry. Let me fix that a little bit. I was going to say, what was the sexism? Pearl Harbor was the time that it was in, and maybe back then some of the things that were said might not go now, but that's the way it was back then. So hey, it's history. It may be a film, but it's based on a history. So some sayings and some terms may not be where you expect it to be right now, but you can't go into it with 21st century views, or it would be inaccurate.
Oh, Mad New was actually answering. Well, no, he was responding to Melissa Harris's comment here. She says, "I hate the word dead. I see it used to bash the classes by people who have no respect for the classes or escapist entertainment." Um, Here's how I use dated. Mostly, I mostly use dated as in it is not it's not the same technology as we're using now, or at least it's not up to date like the technology that we're using now. Not necessarily, and I know where she's coming from when she says that. They mean dated by as in they have quote unquote outdated views of the world and outdated perspectives on people. And I'm like, uh, slow your roll, sit
Hmm.
yourself down. Don't try to pretend like you're morally superior. You just swam out your mama's canal.
Yeah.
You still have a ways to go, sweetheart. So don't try to prop yourself up early in your lifeline, trying to portray yourself as morally superior than these people who made the classics. If it weren't for them, you wouldn't even be experiencing some of the movies that are made on the behalf of those classics. And believe me, there's a lot of movies that take inspiration from those classics. So you may call them dated. I call them timeless. That's the word I like to use, timeless, because at least they're set in a period of a time that we can reminisce about. So I'm talking about timeless. The stuff that you claim that is better than these movies, they're going to be dated, and I'm going to actually use dated in their lingo, but I'm going to change the definition like they like to do that. I'm going to call it dated because it's going to have no staying power for even in the current year that it is, because there are other movies just like that movie that's dated. So there you go. Okay.
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%.
Sam Proctor has put in some clarification. He said I should have put quotations on the word sexism. She just didn't like the fact that a man was in love with a woman. She was a full third wave. Whoa, whoa,
Oh,
whoa,
goodness
whoa, whoa, whoa,
gracious.
whoa, whoa! Back
Here we
up, back
go.
up. She said, wait. Hang on. No, this is different. This is new. She said she just didn't like the fact that a man was in love with a woman. Wait, so a man is not supposed to fall in love? Hang on. Hang on. Let me pull that up again. She says she didn't like the fact that a man was in love with a. Usually it's the other way around. Usually it's the woman. They don't like the fact that a woman falls in love with a dude, because apparently they think the woman is supposed to have. She's supposed to be an unfeeling robot that have her own quote unquote agency.
Unless
Okay,
she falls
Trooper
in
is
love
not.
with.
Sadly, Trooper's not gonna be joining us today, so he's still got things to do.
Oh, okay. That's understandable.
Yeah.
That's
Hopefully
understandable.
next time. All right, let me message him back real quick. And
We
I'm
missed
speaking
him
on
and we're
behalf of
grateful.
everybody.
Yes.
Yep. I'm speaking on behalf of all of us.
Hmm. We miss his wisdom and his wise words, and we will wait for him to return. When you got to handle your business, you got to handle your business. So there's no hate there.
Hmm.
Handle your business. I would even tell him, handle your business.
Yep.
I was gonna say, not love with a woman. Well, I guess heterosex is not the in thing these days.
Yeah. Apparently, these feminists think that the rights of passion is to be just about everything that's supposed to be outside of the white man's
Yes,
world.
yes, yes.
Next thing you're gonna tell me, the white woman's gonna claim that she's a black woman now
She
because apparently she has black friends. So
may
yeah.
be white, but her soul sees herself as black.
Oh,
Whatever.
remember? Have you watched Bamboozled?
I saw it once. Yeah.
You remember that one scene with the Mau Mau's?
Okay, let me think now.
Uh, Most
Um.
Def's group after they shot up dude who did the tap dancing in Sesame Street.
Oh yeah,
He was on.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Remember
Yeah, I
after that
remember.
happened, that the police came up and shot them all, gunned them all down,
Yes, I
except
remember
for the
that.
white dude.
Yeah.
And he's just like crying. He's like, shoot me, kill me. I'm black. I'm black. Shoot me. Those are my friends. Kill me too. I'm
You
black. I'm like, this is. I had to
know.
get looking back at that.
Mhm.
I had to laugh Spike Lee. I'm like, dude, come on, buddy. This is where I gotta say. This is like I really thought She Hate Me was the beginning where Spike Lee was losing his mind completely. But no,
Mhm.
it was really Bamboozled. It was really Bamboozled where I'm like, oh my goodness, what are you doing? What
Yeah.
are you doing? I'm saying specifically with that scene, like the fact that he painted the cops as selectively shooting the criminals that murdered a black man on national television, right?
Right.
I'm like, you're basically saying that the white people are going to actually save the white man and kill all the black people. Really? No, all of them would have been shot up. All of them.
Right.
He just, truth be told, he just got lucky that he ducked quickly enough to avoid the bullets.
Right.
That's how I saw it. But I know that like Spike, you think that I don't know what you're doing. I see the message here.
Well, you weren't the only one. There's a lot of people that didn't like that movie that much, and now I see why. I didn't like it myself. You brought it up. We see
Yeah,
why.
he over time he started to, he's
He just.
his whole shtick is starting to decline. The
Yeah.
last movie I saw was Five Bloods. Oh my goodness.
How was that? I
There
haven't
was a
seen.
there was a scene where Daryl Lindo literally walks up to the camera and talked about how horrible America has treated the soldiers of Vietnam, specifically the black soldiers. And at the end of that monologue, he puts up the fist and say, "Right on, right on." I was like, if my wife wasn't watching it with me, I would have tuned it out. I would have turned it off. I was like, you had, bruh, you already had me with this movie from the get go, and now you lost me with this one. You just Spike, you just can't help yourself sometimes, can you? At least I didn't get that with Black Klansman. Thank goodness for that. I was like, at least I
Mm-mm,
enjoyed like like you did
mm-mm.
good with. Well, actually, you know what? He did do something at the end of Black Klansman, but then again, you could just shut like the moment you know where the ending is coming in at, you know where to shut it off. You know
Right.
exactly when to shut it off. Everything else is fine, but like that ending with the burnt cross and the shots of President at the time
Yeah.
Trump
Yeah.
and the riot stuff and that Charleston scene. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh my goodness, you just can't, Spike. You know what? Don't make. You know what? Whatever movie that you're making, don't expect me to watch it,
Maybe he should
cause
start doing documentaries because they seem like they go into documentary. Maybe he should go into doing documentary films
oh
because.
my goodness, you know what? Now that you bring that up, at the end of Five Bloods, he shows a scene of Black Lives Matter. I was like, oh
Oh
no,
no.
you endorse Black Lives? Oh yeah, that's the nail in the coffin right there.
Yeah, we should.
That's
I thought we just.
that. You know what? After seeing the end of Five Bloods, I'm like, yep, that's a nail in the coffin for me. I'm never watching anything from you ever again. Ever. I have not even seen Do the Right Thing or Juiced, and I'm not about to watch it now because I know where he's going. I know where he's at now compared to where he was back then. Anybody tell me you should watch Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing? Nope. He's, Spike Lee's dead to me as a writer and an artiste. He's dead to me. I will not endorse any more of his stuff any at all. Like he ain't good people anymore. Sorry to say, with his bug eyed looking self, need to get his eyes checked.
Well, see,
Like he he's
that's
strung out sometimes.
yeah, it does. That's been the issue, I guess, that you raised something. I won't stay on it, but that's the issue with most black filmmakers, directors, or writers is that they're not very good. And to tie it into our topic is that the issue of escapism. It's hard for
Mm,
us. Well, either we choose not to, we can't to write escapist stories. Every story has to have some sort of message or some sort of. And I'm not saying that's not a bad thing, but then again, sometimes an audience just wants to escape, and it's very hard for us to do that. I'm sorry, but then we start complaining or yelling some sort of injustice because you don't have a lot of, like, where's our black Steven Spielberg, or where's our black George Lucas, or where's our person of color? But where are they at?
mm-hmm.
But they cannot just sit. I'm just going to write this fantasy. It's epic. Instead, they want to be. They right now they are complaining. Well, how come ain't no black people in Lord of the Rings, or how come ain't no black people in Game of Thrones? It's like, well, how come you're
Because
not
they
writing
don't
your own stuff?
exist in that world.
Exactly, exactly. And then those
It's
writers
not.
wrote what they knew in their own stories. You don't.
Have you been to a location where Tolkien was? Last time I checked, where he was at, not a lot of black folk there.
Right,
You
right.
expect him to just insert some people that wasn't even part of the region at the time of his inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you go to Africa and write something about Africa,
Right.
Mister Expert on black folk and blackness? Oh right, they're still in wartime there. I'll wait. I'll wait.
That's what
You
I
ain't gonna
always.
go there.
You see what
You ain't gonna get together your homies to put together some money to get you there
you
so you can
see
write your magnum opus.
You see how
Go ahead.
Ava DuVernay destroyed A Wrinkle in Time. I read that book, A Wrinkle in Time. It's one of my favorite science fiction books to read. But when they say Ava DuVernay was going to direct, I'm like, oh no, this is about to go to the garbage. And it's exactly that, because they say she did not stick. She used that movie to push her own political message. I said that's not what that book is about. I said Homegirl could not even sit and do the movie. If I'm the studio, I would say, no, no, honey, you're not doing any of these movies anymore. So I'm glad they pulled her
Mm-mm.
off that DC project, because she's not doing them to tell the story. She's doing them to push a political message, and that's all we seem to do. Even when I was growing up in kid, and I was studying black theater, and we were doing some black theater stories. Halfway through the session, I would be in the room half asleep or bored. They said, "Why are you bored?" I said, "Because I'm tired of the same old stories. It's the same old stories." Oh yes, what are we going to have today? Slave stories down on the plantation.
Oh
Um,
my
Black
goodness. You and
woman
I are on the
has
same
been,
page there.
yes, on the plantation, and the slave master is the mean white man beating them up, and they're trying to get their way to slavery. Next story is about pre-civil rights in the 30s and the 20s, and when they ever get away with that. And then we go into the civil rights movement, and we stay there for the whole school semester. And then after that, we don't do anything else except it's way down on the plantation, slave stories. The master is mean. The master is mean to the black woman and the black man trying to make his way. And I'm not dismissing this stuff, but I think after a while you get a little bored. And I got so
I
bored.
told my mom that she kept mentioning 12 years a slave, and I'm like, I'm not going to be
Yes.
watching any more slave movies.
My mother tried to get me to
I'm
watch that too.
done.
She said,
I'm so
that movie won an Oscar. You should be
I
watching.
don't care. I don't care. I'm like if like I'm telling you right now, if you're gonna complain about there not being enough black superheroes or black crime fighters or even black super cops, I'm gonna look to you and say, Well, what movies have you seen recently that had black folk in it? 12 Years a Slave? Well, there's your answer right there. That's why. You keep coming to the movies that you like what you choose to entertain yourself with is what they're going to keep giving to you because that's what they think that entertains you.
Yep. Remember in the
So
90s
I'm
that
go ahead.
continue. No, go ahead, finish.
Yeah, I was like, I was telling my mom, I was like, I'm not finna be keep continuing to watch movies about slavery that involves us black folk. I'd rather be watching something about black folk, like maybe something like something in the same vein of pursuit of happiness. Like I want to see a black
Yeah.
person doing something with themselves in their lives, not somebody sitting here complaining about their lot in life all the like Dave Chappelle. Remember what Dave Chappelle said in for what's that one stand up called For What's Worth, right?
Hmm.
And he says I'm so sick and tired of smoking weed around black folk because all I have to hear from y'all is y'all trials and tribulation. From now on, I smoke exclusively with white folk.
Yes.
Calm down, motherfucker. Excuse me. Y'all win that by the fault. Because
Hmm.
all the time you talk about is how many times you got high. I'm like,
Exactly.
that's exactly how I feel right now. Like I'm so sick of it. Like you said, Leia, you so sick of it.
Yeah, my mother tried to get me to see the same movie, 12 Years Slave. I said, Mom, I am tired of slave pictures. I am fed up with every time we're on the big screen or a black actor wins an Oscar, he's an oppressed black man or a beaten up black woman. I am getting so tired of that. Me too. I said I wasn't happy when it won an Oscar. I said, no, I can't stand that. That movie, and there's so many other black films, well, I hate to call them black films, but films that deal with issues, but that were done better. And I told her, I told my mom, I said, I'm tired of that. It was like that in school. I'm like, oh my God, none another, because all the plays we were doing was the same crap: slavery, slavery,
Hmm.
slavery, slavery, oppression, civil rights, pre-civil rights movements, after civil rights movements, slavery, slavery, slavery. Again, I don't say there's nothing wrong with those issues, but can we do other stuff? Because there is this notion that when we do, because if the college has to be a black theater festival, like, are you going? No. I said, why? Because I'm tired. Excuse me. I am so fed up. I am so fed up with this because they have this notion that that's all I want to see. I like other stuff
Hmm.
too. I want to see the Phantom of the Operas and the whatever else is out there. I want to see that kind of stuff. Why am I just stuck to the same old drama on the plantation kind of moments, or it's the civil rights moments, and everybody in the house is son's a drug addict, mom's getting beat up by the husband, so she's an alcoholic, and the father is no good. Why am I seeing the same stuff
In
over
great
and over?
detail.
And again, you're right, and you're right. Well, they seem like they think every black person wants to be entertained by that crap. So when 12 Years Slave won Best Picture, I wasn't happy about it. I just simply told my mom, of course it's going to win, Mom. It's black people in their place. That's the way we like
Hmm.
this. It's black folks
Hmm.
in their place. So,
You hit the nail right on
yeah.
the head when you said that
Mhm.
it won an award because it was black people put in their place, and that was them sealing the deal. Like, yep, we
Yes,
got them. We got
exactly.
them where we want them. Where this is what they're conditioned themselves to view. This is how they're going to condition themselves to see each other. This, or at least see themselves. Not us though.
Exactly. When we do
What
movies
little
about that,
little do they know. Little do they know. I'm sorry. I don't mean to
go ahead,
interject, but
go ahead.
little do they know. There's a whole percentage of black folk that don't like that kind of entertainment at all. And I also want to bring this up for the many articles that complain about white racism in America. They sure as hell don't talk about uh constantly constantly. Excuse me. Let me double back real quick because my brain is getting mushy. I sure don't see no articles complaining about there being too many movies about black people struggling and black people in chains and being beaten.
Hmm.
I'm sorry. Like where are the articles talking about that? like if there is any, I would like to see them. I'm just like bruh, like I've seen a few. Have I seen? Yeah, I'm going to be unkind. Few. I think I've seen a few movies that had black folk in it that where they were having fun at least. I can't. Man, that's sad. I can't even remember the names.
Well, I think about, like, for me, when Eddie Murphy did, like, the Nutty Professor, and I personally thought that was Eddie Murphy's crowning achievement as a comedic actor, because he was able to play
Ooh, ooh.
the
Speaking of
whole.
which, Dolomite. Dolomite is my name. That was the one movie where you had a whole black cast, also with a white cast mixed into it, where black people were going around doing something for success,
Yes, I agree with
and I
you.
was I was happy. I was in blissful. I was just relaxed. I'm like finally something that was black entertainment where black folk were building something. And even they had, and even, and that's not to say they didn't have their fair share of hardships. They had hardships. If you look back into the to how Dolomite got made, they did
Hmm.
have hardships.
Yes,
And yeah,
yes.
angry green Boss is right. It's a fetish for specifically in the black community. It's a fetish,
Hmm.
definitely. But yeah, even the white people get off of it because they want to feel sorry for us. They get off on feeling sorry for us.
Oh yeah,
And Brian Gilmar
exactly. It's
Brian
just
Gilmar like bring up,
it,
yeah, excuse me. I like Brian Gilmartin's comment here. I'm sorry, I don't mean to bump into you there. He says,
mm-mm.
"Sounds to me like Hollywood fantasizes about return to slavery. Really says a lot about them. Those,
Yeah,
especially to those who don't even learn history or co-sign to made up history."
right. I agree 1,000%. Because when 12 Years a Slave won an Oscar, I was not celebrating. I'm like, Mother, why did you say? I said, Mom, it's a slave picture. Naturally, they're going to praise it. Naturally, they're going to give it a whole bunch of awards. It's a slave because it was killer. Like, why is everybody all up in this movie? What is in this film? Because I was tired
Yeah,
of it.
I told my mom that I was she's like, why won't you watch 12 Years a Slave? I was like, cause I'm so sick and tired of seeing movies about black folk in chains in
Yes,
slavery.
like that's the
I've
only
seen
story.
that. Look. I've already I know enough. I know a lot of stuff enough about slavery back in the days. I've seen Amistad. I've
Yes,
seen I've seen Roots.
Roots. Yes, I've seen
Roots was
Roots.
enough, and even then, Roots was made up. Most of it
Hmm.
was made up, and and
Hmm.
and, and they only partially told the truth about the African slave trade. You know what I'm saying? They
Right.
kind of revised some of it,
Hmm.
but like I've seen that. I've seen what's another slave movie?
Let's see. Let's go down the list here. Let's see. We just 12 Years Slave. Amistad. You mentioned Roots. Let's see now. What else? What else is can I? That my mother forced me to sit and watch. I know there were a lot of plays. I can't think of them off the hand. I gosh, there were so many that I had to read in school that I guess I don't remember them because I fell asleep half the time reading them.
Hmm.
Let's see. There's been other on the plan. Let's see now. But there was another
The
one. I
only
forgot.
the
I
only
forgot.
slave movie The only slave movie I watched, and that was my last time, and I actually enjoyed it, was Django Unchained. And that's only because a black free man was going around looking for his lost love. He wasn't out there to free some slaves, mind you. He wasn't out there to free some slaves. He was out there trying to get his girl back. It wasn't even about the slaves. Yes, we saw, a bit of what black folks still was going through, and we learned some new information. They used to have us fight each other, you know what I'm saying? The men mostly these
Yes.
gladiatorial
Mm-hmm.
fights and whatnot. And,
Mm-hmm.
they like to call my mom like to call my mom and many others like to call Samuel Jackson's character Uncle Ruckus. Like, nah, that's not Uncle Ruckus. That is not Uncle Ruckus. You got that mixed up. Uncle Ruckus is a delusional black man. That was not a delusional black man that Samuel Jackson was playing. He's a
Mm-mm.
dangerous black man for
Mm-mm.
sure. Uncle Ruckus is barely even a threat. He's good at fighting. Yes, he is very good at fighting, surprisingly, but he's not as dangerous as what Samuel Jackson was in Django Unchained. Cause cause uh cause there's a saying that I really fancy the most, and it says the saying goes like this: "It's better to keep your mouth closed and be thought of a fool than to open it and remove all doubt." So I like
Oh.
to apply that to somebody who plays a fool, and then when the doors close, when doors close, that's where their masks come off,
Mhm.
and then you see what they're really capable of, and that's where you get really scared because you didn't know that they had that capacity because again, they played the fool. Of
Exactly.
course, Fiona Wolf brought up Color Purple. Oh goodness, Color Purple.
Oh, please. Oh, my mother dragged me to that too. She didn't want to see it, but I didn't know interest in it. The only reason I went was because Steven Spielberg directed it, and I said, "Well, it's Steven Spielberg. What could go wrong?" I have seen
Hmm.
that so because so my mother was all the movies she wanted to see was she was black slavery pictures. I was like, Mom, even my dad was getting bored with her. I'm like, I'm not going with you to another black slave because that's all you see to sit and watch. And she said, Father, well, it's good to know your history. I said, I know enough about it already. I don't need to have
I
every
go
movie
to
about it.
school every day.
Yeah, I know enough about it. Oh
I
yes,
go to school every day. They teach that in school. Why do I need to watch a movie about my history? In fact, shouldn't you, as a black woman, be teaching me this? Not
because
park me in front of a movie?
because I remember in the film, people were angry that the film didn't win Best Picture. I was happy. I'm like, good. I'm glad because it doesn't need it. Because we
Nope.
again, it's that's how they see us. Doesn't
And
need to win Best
they'll see
Picture.
your words and they'll call you a traitor to your own race. You don't want black people to
Yes,
succeed.
yes,
No, I want my black folks to succeed in other ways instead of just making slavery movies or making stuff about black stuff. I don't want this race hustling BS that they're making in these books and these movies. That when you finally get a black writer or a black creator, that's all they pushing out. That's why I praise Dwayne McDuffie above everybody else. Dwayne McDuffie is a black comic book writer. For those who are not to know who Dwayne McDuffie is, he is the creator of Static Shock. He
hmm
is he is he is one of the co-writers of great DC animated stories. So if you ever saw his name, you know you were in for a treat for an episode of either Justice League Unlimited, or if he was the director of an animated movie, you were in for a treat as well. Which his last movie, sat rest his soul, his last movie was Justice League Doom, which say what you will about that movie. I know Fan Man has said what he had to say, which I'm inclined to agree with him, but I still enjoy that movie at the same time. Same thing with Crisis on Two Earths. Of course, he
hmm
has his own. He has that's what like that's what I said to him about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. He didn't like that movie as well, but I said I love Guardians of the Galaxy for what it was, and I'm okay with anybody who didn't like it. They don't
hmm
like movies. Most movies are not for everybody, but it's something for everybody, even if it is not for everybody all
Well,
the
well,
time.
well.
Wrap that around your mind on that one. What I'm saying. Go ahead.
I agree. I agree with you on that one. I agree with you. The issue is many of the black filmmakers today. They say, can you do something outside of your So let's say you do 12 Years a Slave, but can you do something else? Can you tell another story? You say you feel, they go there crying and whining that Hollywood doesn't acknowledge black filmmakers. Hollywood doesn't pay us enough like writers, but is that all you can do? If I come to you and say, well, I'm going to do Lord of the Rings, the TV show miniseries, can you direct it? Do you know the world of Tolkien? Can you do it without getting political? Can you do it just entertain people? 90% of the time,
The
a lot of
question you,
us
the question you
can't
should
do it.
also ask them. The question that you should also ask them: are you willing to take time out, take a moment out of your time to study the lore of Tolkien's world? Are you willing
Yes.
to really go extensively, like read the books, reading the books and reading the Silmarillion to really get the full focus of how the world works in Tolkien's world? And I'm
And
pretty
that's
sure
why,
they wouldn't even be able to do that either.
oh, they'll look at you like you're speaking in tongues because they don't know how to do that. They are stuck. They put themselves into their own hole because they'll say, well, all I know is African history stuff, but they
What
can't get
African
out.
histories? What African history? Was you born in Africa? What was you
That's
like? The only way I can buy that is if you were born in Africa, because that's BS. If you talking about African history,
hmm it's true. It's the
uh,
same. It's the
Melissa
same.
Harris,
Go ahead.
sorry, Melissa Harris had brought up Tyler Perry. I wanted to read that real quick. Let me find it.
Yeah, I
Where
was
she
about to
put
bring
it?
up. I was going to mention Tyler Perry myself. You can go ahead and read her. I'm interested to see what she has to say because I was about to bring him up myself. Go ahead and give a quote.
I'm gonna also voice my original criticism of him.
hmm
But over time, I've begun to really appreciate the man for what he is saying. Really, really appreciate him. It's not that one now. That one. Where is? Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Here it is. She says, "I wish Medea would come back. I wish Tyler Perry did not give in to the woke SJW's retired character Uncle Joe, Mr. Brown, Cora, Brian, and more. I don't think it was the woke SJWs that caused him to retire. I don't think it was that. He retired him himself. He wanted to get into film. Uh, First and foremost, he wanted to get into film. He was, you know, he ain't no young man no more. So playing an old woman and running around doing the things that he did as Medea, that's going to get strenuous. You know what I'm saying? It's going to get very strenuous. He's not going to be take it for what it is, Melissa. But think about it like this: he ain't going to be Medea forever. He's got to be Tyler Perry now. You know what I'm saying? And no,
Right.
Angry Boss, he's not a gay. I don't think he's a gay. I don't think he's gay. A lot of people like to think he was, but he's not gay. I would
Well,
say that Medea would be an open expression of what he had to what he went through in his childhood, because he was a he did admit that he was a victim of sexual violence, or at least sexual assault from a family member, I believe, his mom, I think.
yeah, something like that. Yes, I do remember him
I
confessing that.
like to
Yes.
think that Medea was his coping mechanism for that, and I think he finally fought through that traumatic experience. Now he wants to get away from it now. Yeah, yeah. Melissa, he said he's got a wife and kids. Like, he ain't gay. Green Boss, he's not gay. A lot of people like to think he was. I would say he's a drag queen, but he's not. I'd say he's a cross dresser. That he is a cross dresser. He's only doing it for the art specifically. But no, he did not. He retired Medea way longer before the woke even got to where they was. He was done with Medea way longer way way before that happened. So no, it wasn't SJWs that caused him to stop it. He stopped it himself. He left on his own terms. Now he under fire because he also praised excuse me. He also praised the police, because apparently it's a bad thing to praise the police.
Yes, yes, Hollywood. They'll really kick him out of Hollywood now because yeah, at the Oscars, which I didn't watch it, but I heard about it. He did praise the police, and he said he doesn't hate anybody. He doesn't hate anybody white. He doesn't hate
And he
anybody.
never did.
He supports them. My only thing with him is I'm kind of glad he did retire Medea because to me Medea stick was starting to weigh on me. You get one or
Mm-hmm.
two couple of pictures out, then now it was starting to say now the films are starting to repeat themselves. So for
Mm-hmm.
him retiring with D, I think it was a good thing, and his normal formula was starting to wear down. With anything, people say, "Oh, you're just saying that because he's black." I said, any movie that has a genre, at some point, the formula that that film or TV series uses starts to wear down, and you have to go into something different or go into something new. And so, because I always felt that outside of Medea, it was hard for him to make other types of films. Can he? excuse me, really be a filmmaker? Can he say, well, I'd like to direct maybe a Lord of the Rings, or maybe a film with DC, or a film with Marvel, but can you really do that and be a filmmaker and not just one particular genre? And I'm
He
sorry, a
was
lot of
branching out. The
mhm,
problem is he made what's that one movie with Taraji P?
um that's not
It was
Proud
called
Mary.
no, not Proud Mary. Proud Mary was them trying to their attempt to make her to an action star. They failed.
Yeah, everybody can't be an
Though
action.
though I do respect her for trying to branch out. She kind of did kind of sold it a bit. She
Hmm.
kind of sold it a little bit. The trail. I only saw the trailer though. I did like the poster though. The poster was pretty nice. I like the poster. Like they had like that. Remember how VH1 logo was
Hmm.
the girl the black lady with the afro. Sometimes they make it into a tree or whatever. They had like that, but the
Hmm.
afro was made out of guns.
Yes. Yeah.
I wanted to get that poster from my mom, but she was never able to visit me, or at least whenever I got around to visiting LA, I keep forgetting to bring it. It's like Mom, I want to give you the Pet Proud Mary poster so bad because it looks so good. Like it reminded me of movie posters of back then when they were so creative instead of just somebody just standing in a freaking Photoshop background looking tough and mean or in the middle of 2010 2010 just a shot of somebody from behind staring at something big or staring out into to an open background,
Hmm.
like finally they're starting to become creative again, here and there. You still got those generic posters, but like man, was it nice to see Proud Mary looking the way it did. I was like, oh, that's a breath of fresh air there, man. Breath of fresh air there. Like finally somebody's getting creative. But no, yeah, when it came down to Tyler Perry, it's like when he does do something that's not Medea, it's still more. He's more of a drama person,
Right.
soap opera
Right.
drama, if you will. Like
Yeah.
it was a movie where Taraji P was a crazy ex wife, and apparently she apparently the previous husband owed her something. Like she was having a trouble letting the man go, and she was one of those. It was one of those kind of movies where crazy woman attacking like a
Yeah.
Lifetime movie.
Yeah. I get.
He
Hmm.
that's basically what he was making. He was making more Lifetime movies nowadays,
Yeah. That's what it
and I
seems
was I,
like.
I went I went all for that either. I went all for that one. It's like yeah I'm sorry Tyler. I'm
Right.
sorry nah. Mm-mm.
Well, my
You
yeah,
you need to
my
branch out.
right. My only gripe is you hear a lot of these actors or directors or writers claiming why not we getting any awards or then they give us a shot. But that's the title. You are a director or an actor. As a director or producer, actor, whatever, can you play other? Can you do other things besides what you're comfortable with? The woman who was the designer of the Black Panther movie won an Oscar for that film. Okay, deserved. But now, if I come to you and say, I need you to do the Court of Marie Antoinette,
Mm. That's what you're gonna hear. Mm.
then there's the door. Like you were talking about on Tuesday, I said, there's the door.
Bye.
Yes. And
You
yes.
got to say it. You got to
Hmm.
embrace your inner ghetto. Bye.
Yes. Yes.
Bye.
Once I hear that,
Like you actually, you know what? That would be your position. Production management, or at least fashion
yes,
management.
yes,
If somebody was coming to me, you know, commissioning themselves to be the clothing design, right? I'm like,
hmm,
all right then, let me send you to my girl Leia plus size. I won't say it like that, but
yeah,
I'm gonna send you to my girl Leia plus size, and she'll she'll wean you and
yep,
so we go. You go there, oh that he or she is gonna be in for a rude awakening when they meet her.
yes. Because I will say, well, this production is the story of Marie Antoinette at the Palace of Versailles in the 18th century, and show me the costumes, the 18th century royal court of Marie Antoinette. Crickets.
Yep.
Then I would send them right back down to you, Wolf, and I would say to you on the intercom, Wolf, please show this person the door because that's not the person that I need to bring in.
And then
Or,
you'll hear on and you'll hear on the intercom, bye, bye, Felicia.
yes, I'm doing Captain America: The First Avenger, and I need costumes of World War II, Brooklyn, New York, in the 1940s. Let there be yep. Where are your costumes? Crickets.
Mm-hmm.
I would call
Bye.
you Wolf. Bye.
You
Bye.
probably you'll probably mess around with them just to hear me say that because I say it so funny.
Because it's no long speech. You just say bye. That's it. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
I'm like bruh. If she's not satisfied, then I'm not satisfied.
right.
Like
Yes. Yes.
here's if there's one speech I gotta say to him is like here's the thing, guys. You come into this company. This company is more than just a job. It's a cadre of family. And to those who work under me, I treat them as family. If you're not here to work in a family unit, then why are you here? Another thing is, Leia Plus Size over there is, or at least any person in these departments are an extension of myself. So I push one thing, creativity. I push one thing, research. I push many things. Sorry, let me rephrase it. I push many things, creativity, research, diligence, fortitude, stamina. Like, do you have all that? Because everybody else has proven to me that they have that. And if you're not injecting your energy into that same energy, you can't be here. I'm sorry. I don't care who or what you are, what what your race is, what your skin color is, who you sleep around with, whatever. You're not in. We push. You put when you step inside this office. When you step inside to the in any department that I send you in, you throw that out the. You throw all that stuff that you think you care about or you think that's important to you in life out the door. You put that on your private time, not on this time. We're making a movie. That stuff goes out the door. So bye.
And that's what it should be.
Nothing
The
else.
role.
Go ahead.
No, you said exactly. Like you said, you say bye. That's it. That's the role. The costume designer, what they do is they get the script. And from that script is where they have to start getting their ideas to create the fashions. So if I show you the script that this is the story of Marie Antoinette from her youth to the day of her execution, I need the costumes of the palace. I need her from her young age to right up to the French Revolution. So I need to see you come up with costumes, and if you look at that like it's like you've never seen it before, you're not going to get. You're not, back is pretty much what you're going to say. And you know what, Wolf? I wouldn't even explain because they should know. They should know. I shouldn't have to explain it to them. You are a costume designer. A costume designer has no color or no term. So if you limit yourself, if you come to me and you say to me, well, I only know how to do African fashions, I'm not going to hire you. Why would I hire you? You're telling me you don't know. You're a costume designer. You should be able to do every genre of script that you get. You should never
Mm-hmm.
look at that script and say, I can't do it. You should be able to do every single script now, but you all start whining. You say the academy doesn't appreciate me, or we don't get these parts, we don't get to do things. But you come in, I'm giving you this opportunity. You're saying you've got the talent to do it, and then you show me you don't have the talent to do it. Well, I'm not going to hire you. So you're not going
Oh,
to work. So whose fault is
surprise
that?
visit from Trooper FN 2525. The man, the myth,
Hey,
the
I just had a few minutes. I just actually finished most of my very, very, very long day, which would have been great in terms of escapism because that way I wouldn't have to deal with responsibility. So, what's up?
yeah. Get him up to speed, Leia Plus Size.
Well,
I'm
right
wearing
now,
I'm wearing down. I'm taking a break.
What? Well, I'm coming to you live from an undisclosed location with very good Wi-Fi. Trooper, field number 2525. So,
Go ahead, Leia. Fill him in.
Well, yeah, we've been talking about, well, basically, we started off talking about the question was, why do we need escapism? And each of us talked about what escapism meant to us. I talked about
Ah, okay.
how escapism is a genre that it's my number
Mhm.
one genre. It's the genre that I've loved ever since I was a child in books, music, television, film. Escapist television,
Mhm.
escapist movies and books have always been number one with me. And we both
Mhm.
went over the things that we loved. And the other thing I was going to bring up to Wolf is how I think in the United States, escapism is looked down upon. I think he looked down upon genre because if you look at classic escapist movies, Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jaws,
Mhm.
E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Mhm.
I was going to say Lord of the Rings until recently, Return of the King. That genre is, they never win Best Picture. They never win anything in acting, anything in storytelling. They never win anything because I think the Academy doesn't appreciate escapism. And I know the great Christopher Lee, before he died, actually made a comment
Mhm.
about that. It was during the
Mhm.
Festival of Rings, and he said that the United States does not appreciate escapism and fantasy. He does, and they don't appreciate it. They said they treat it like it's a dessert instead of a full course meal. So they don't have the appreciation for the storytelling.
Mhm.
So he never really thought Lord of the Rings would win Best Picture because he said the United States doesn't have respect for it. And I believe that he's right. I think it's a disrespected genre. But I went on to tell Wolf what it meant
Mhm.
to me and how escapism
Right.
got me through, many
We
things.
also brought up
Mhm.
PBS
Yes.
of the olden days, like Reading Rainbow. I didn't even get into detail about Reading Rainbow or story time
Oh,
yet.
before LeVar went woke. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Back when he
Yeah.
still
yeah.
had a mustache and
We
he
talked
was
about a
like a
little bit
toucan
about
blighter.
we kind of delved a bit deep into the negative, which is expected. We try to keep it on a positive energy, but
Mhm.
negativity you know tends to divert us a bit. But we're gonna get it back. I'm pretty sure you're gonna enlighten us with your views of escapism, of course.
Yes.
And with that being said, we also went to we delved into fancy high fancy production management, which is that's where you got in that's where you walked into Leia Plus's rant about fashion designing, which means I would have her as manager of the fashion industry, which is if somebody can't do Marie Antoinette's costume designing of the Victorian era, then there's the
Mhm.
door. Of course,
But
she'll send them to me, and of course you'll hear the famous bye.
I was
Well, I
basically
mean,
telling him, and I'm sorry,
uh-huh.
Trevor, I'll let you go. I was telling him that many artists or POCs, people of color, black folks, I'll say black folks here,
I used to call them
claim
POS.
You can just call them pogs. I call them pogs.
uh,
So
pogs
yeah.
complain they
Well,
don't get any,
yeah, because they're
jobs.
pogs. They're like a blight. So yeah, I call them pogs. So
Or
I
They
mean, that's
POS.
what they are. It's POC is just like POX. So
exactly, it's the
it's a
same
pog.
thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. No.
And I was saying to him how, let's say, like, for instance, the woman who did the costume for Black Panther won an Oscar. Deservedly so. Those were great costumes. But if
Yeah,
I
they're
told
all
her,
right.
yeah,
I
they were,
mean,
I
you
get
can
it.
only
I'll
go
be
so
right
far
back.
with
I'm gonna
kente
pull up
cloth.
Professor Geek real quick.
Oh, okay. I'll keep him up to speed of what we're saying. And, well, I gave the example of many persons of colors always whine and complain. They don't get Oscars, they don't get jobs, they don't hire us. So if I went to that
Well, they
designer,
don't. I mean, I guess Hallie forgets that she got one. So I mean, I guess you know.
right. Well, I was just saying that let's say that designer who did the costumes for Black Panther, if she
Yeah.
comes to me and I give her a script for my next picture and my Leia plus size, and I said I am going to do the biography of Marie Antoinette from
Mhm.
the young girl to the French Revolution when she's executed, and I need
Mhm.
fashions for the Palace of Versailles. Let me see what you got.
Mhm.
And
Well, it didn't.
she doesn't give me, she said, if she says to me, well, I don't really do the Palace of Versailles, well, I'm sorry, I can't hire you because
Well,
I have somebody here who knows it knows, but the designers have to really know how to handle if you really want to get the
Well,
jobs in Hollywood, you got to be able to handle, whatever the genre of the script requires you to do.
well, I mean, it really comes down to how good of a designer they are, because I mean, they should be able to cut in a straight line, and they should be able to do, simple stitches, because that's what it really comes down to. Because a lot of it is just research, and a lot of it is just going off of images and past works, and then, coming up with costuming that actually closely resembles what you're trying to do. Um, the design for Anne Boleyn, so far in the new series looks good. Yeah, they blackwashed her, but whatever.
Yeah,
But
which makes no
but
sense. That's
but
another
yeah,
tale.
yeah, I want to go back to that Oscar that Halle never won, because they made such a big stink about how she was the first woman of color, and I was like, no, correction, the first mulatto woman of color. Yeah, yeah, I get that. You got to put it in its proper context. There were other women of color that did win these awards. So, but
Oh, you're right about that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But you know how, like, they're so myopic when it comes to the history. They like, it's word salad. They like to play with words so that they can get their desired outcome. But
Exactly.
for me, like, escapism. There's a few things that go along with that.
Go
It
ahead.
depends on
Yeah.
what context that we are discussing it in, because it can be taken in a way that, yeah, you rely too much on escapism as opposed to dealing with the problem at hand, or it could be that you use escapism as a way
And
to
I'm
come
back.
up with a creative solution. Well, I hope you didn't fall in. And I would say, yeah, if you're using escapism as a way to be able to solve a problem creatively, like, what would Trooper do? That's a form of escapism. Like, or if we're talking about, these films, that you immerse yourself in the film and you immerse yourself in the sci-fi and the fantasy of it, so as to be able to give your mind much needed rest. Because here's the thing that most people don't understand, and especially for me, when I took a very lovely French intern out to dinner. One of the things that she had pointed out is that Americans work a lot, and by a lot, we're talking a 40-hour work week. If we were talking about the French work week, it is nothing like the American work week. So yeah, I could see how Christopher Lee would say that there is a disrespect, because we've been more or less conditioned to just run on automatic 24/7, and if there's any downtime at that point, you pop in a movie, say, like Fearless or Fist of Legend or Memoirs of a Geisha, which is actually what I watched the last night. So, you can immerse yourself in those. Like, okay, well, what would Sayuri Nikta do? Or how would Mamea, deal with a problem? Or take it a step further, what would Captain America do? Steve Rogers, Captain America, not America Chavez, not Sam Wilson. It's
Hmm.
but if we're talking about escapism, it has to be done in such a way that you can immerse yourself, that the uh, thing that you're seeing in front of you, whether it's a film or a play, or you just happen to get 2 tickets to go see something like Miss Saigon or Hairspray. It's the type of thing where you can allow yourself to be free and just enjoy life behind the fourth wall as you watch it unfold in front of you. Yeah, that's the type of escapism I think we can all agree that's very constructive and very positive, and it lets you appreciate art in its context as a frame of work. But if we're using escapism in terms of video games, and say finding ways to waste time and not deal with a problem to the point where it's metastasized, that you have to deal with it, because if not, the land grab power company is going to go ahead and turn off your electricity. And it's a Sims 4 reference. then yeah, I mean that's when escapism has just gone to, you know, being irresponsible. So I mean that's my view on it. I mean I mean that was originally my point that I was going to make had I had more time earlier this afternoon, but you know I had to meet with the Inquisition, and I'll hear more from them later within the next 10 to 14 days. But I think one thing, you know, we need to con, con put into context is that there are times when you do need to be able to, uh, in terms of solutions, either make a list or break down a problem into smaller, more feasible chunks. And that's where escapism can come in, where if you discuss it enough, or if you happen to be reading a book as a way to unwind, usually what happens is subconsciously your mind is already tackling the problem. I mean, you can even tell yourself out loud, hey, tackle the problem. And on the subconscious level, you're already trying to formulate a solution, you know, to your question. And that's how I usually do a lot of my constructive solutions. Is I let my mind just do its own thing while I relax. I could either be listening to music or be watching a film or something like that. You know, I let my mind run where it's going to go. It doesn't always work, but oftentimes what I find is that it's the type of solution that I would have not come across practically. Even say we can use house cleaning as a form of escapism if we really want to. You know, you pour yourself your little glass of wine or whatever, pop in your earbuds, listen to some funk, and and do your dishes. That can be a form of escapism that allows you to kind of formulate that type of therapy that you need in terms of your mind being able to wrap itself around a problem. So there is that. I know I went on a monologue, but that's what villains do.
No, that's great.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. We knew.
That's what
okay.
super villains do. So
No, I get what you're saying.
yeah.
I get what you're saying. I do.
Wait a
I
minute.
think.
Todd Perry, he says, Damien X 24/7
Mhm.
says, it's really 247, but I like calling it 24/7.
Mhm.
He says, I wish Todd Perry would use that private studio of his in some martial arts or fantasy films. He don't have to star in it, but maybe write, produce, or direct. Or hire some people who can do it for him. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
it is a
Yeah. That's what
studio.
you could do. Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
Tyler's a one-trick pony because he's been
That's
so
what we were
wrapped
talking about
up in
earlier.
Medea. He's been so wrapped up in Medea for over a decade. I'm just waiting for Medea to get pregnant at this point. So,
Wow.
I mean,
No.
that's
If
about
that's
the
even
only thing
possible.
Medea hasn't done. I'm waiting for that Medea has a baby. That's what I'm waiting for. So, I mean,
Medea attempting to get back child support.
are you kidding? I mean, that woman has done everything under the sun. That's the only thing I haven't seen. So, but heck,
Hang on. Let me address Melissa Harris.
Mhm.
2013 Evil Dead was not woke, or at least not nearly as woke as one would want to think of it. It did star a female protagonist in the Ash role. It's good for what it is. The only issue I had with that movie was that it was too gratuitous with the violence.
well,
It had an interesting concept all in all.
it
It
depends
was
on
almost
the
like
guys.
it was almost. I'm almost done. You'll get your turn. Okay. No,
Well,
what
hurry
said
up,
was,
man.
don't rush me. No, I'm kidding.
Like,
But,
yeah.
from what I've seen of it twice already, it
Hmm.
had a great concept to it. It had a nice it kind of had some neat characters to them too. Not saying that they were any better than the original characters in the original Evil Dead, but
Right.
but from what I've seen, like I originally was coming to hate it, but no,
Hmm.
I ended up liking it at the end of the day.
Well,
Um, it was interesting that the broken character was the one that survived at
hmm.
the end, and not the clean character this time around. Because you know how horror movies was back then. What when it came down to
Yeah.
final girls. The final girl
Yeah.
was always the pure, unmolested, if you will.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay, well, I mean, it depends. Okay, it depends on what Melissa's definition of woke is, because you have to keep in mind that it didn't start out as woke. I mean, woke kind of just first from politically correct. And when we talk about, the woke-ish and we talk about critical race theory, I mean, in terms of popular culture, it's, for me anyway, I find it easier to relate to that stuff in terms of presidential terms. So if we're talking 2013, 2012, we're talking we're talking Obama term 2. And that's really where a lot of that stuff was more or less starting to come out, because okay, you have a lame duck leader that more or less can do whatever they want or encourage certain things in the public perception, and that just kind of opens up a floodgate. Look at how 2016 just kind of threw a match onto onto kindling that was already soaked in kerosene, if you look at it that way. And I mean, look at 2021 now. I mean, in terms of films, if I were to look at something like, say, oh God, what, I can't think of anything that's so extremely woke that it just kind of makes my stomach churn. I'll use Captain Marvel only because that's the first thing
Good
that
choice.
comes to mind.
Yes.
I mean, I would like to see the Marvelettes, but I don't think anything was gonna come out of that other than Kamala and Monica just ragging on Carol the whole time. But I mean, if I take something like Captain Marvel versus 2012, gosh, I think we were already well into the first Captain America film by then, because MCU started launching around 2008 with
Oh, here
Incredible
we
Hulk.
go with the history lesson. No, I'm kidding.
Well, okay, so if we go back to as far as 2008, and we do the Hulk, with Ed Norton, you'll notice that there's not a lot of gratuitous pandering in terms of what would be termed politically correct. What you would see is that film was more closely related to the Bill Bixby.
Yeah.
The televised series of the Incredible Hulk.
Right.
That's where I got my trouble at when I first watched it, because I didn't know that that's what they were going for at the
Yeah, I
time.
mean, I would have to.
Which kind of ruined my enjoyment of it, because I was coming off the heels of Hulk, the Ang Lee version.
I want to say at that point, 2012. Were we already at Avengers Assemble by 2012? Like I'm on my cell phone. I don't have a console in front of me.
2011 was the first Avenger movie. The following year, 2012, we got the first group Avengers film.
Avengers Assemble.
Yeah, so we're right there. Right. Yep. So we were right there. Yeah.
So if I contextualize and I do a comparative between Avengers Assemble and Evil Dead, there's not going to be too much deviation in terms of what we would consider politically correct. Black Widow was still Black Widow. Loki was still Loki. Iron Man was still Iron Man. Actually, we were already on the heels of Tony Stark already completing his arc and now becoming more like a tentpole character that just kind of ties everything together. He wasn't too terribly politically correct. If anything, he tended to be slightly arrogant, and that's how more or less I saw how they were getting around that. I mean, because what's more charming than an arrogant character? I mean, that to me is, I'll be honest, full disclosure, that's one of my more attractive qualities. but yeah, so I mean, if we look at correctness versus woke, yeah, I mean, maybe there might have been maybe a few female cop series like already coming up on the network TV stations, but they weren't necessarily woke, if you will.
Right.
What we consider woke now is the type of virtue signaling that is now overt towards slanted towards one particular ethnicity,
Like the
while
time where in Arrow, Mr. Terrific voices opinion about guns and the use of
yeah,
guns
there you
to
go.
Wild Dog.
Yeah, and while we now would consider that, well, in that context, it would have been politically correct. Oh, guns aren't good. Guns kill people, not people. Like, so it's like, well, the person kind of holds it in their hand, so your argument holds no water. So, I mean, at that point, our civil liberties were still not being outright attacked by pop
Wait, wait,
culture.
wait, 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 wait. You mean to tell me the line that I hold true to my heart is a lie? You mean to tell me that
Yes,
guns do kill people?
yes, yes, yes. If you're woke, they do. They do. They have a mind of their own. The fact that the, I mean, truth of the matter is, when you go ahead and you draw it from its holster, you are completely responsible for every piece of ammunition that comes out of that particular, handpiece. You
Exactly.
just are. But
Yeah.
and in terms of escapism, it's easier to escape to something like Evil Dead or something like Avengers Assemble than it is to actually escape to something like Captain Marvel. And the reason I tend to use the MCU a lot, because in our discussions that we've had in our roundtables with everyone who's been listening here on these podcasts, is that once we got into the the cable wars, the next big thing was the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It just was. I mean, yeah, now we're getting into more of the streaming wars, and now you're starting to see websites like Pluto TV and Peacock that will eventually replace the at-home television. As much as people want to argue with me on that point, it's like, look, it's like we're talking about streaming on demand that's absolutely free if you are considered the product, but you're still allowed to watch the Baywatch channel 24/7, and I can get all the Pamela Anderson CJ really horrible lines I want. I can watch these females with their high-waisted one-piece suits do terrible CPR and literally just be pieces of, just be actresses to be objectified on TV, which in the 90s, that's what sold. I mean, it
Yeah.
was about sex. It was about sex. There was nothing wrong with it. I mean, we had just come off of a decade in the 80s where Madonna made it perfectly okay for women to be trollops. Like, you could go ahead and, hang half naked off a wall and that was considered art, which it truly is. It
Kind
truly
of wish
is.
we could go back to that. Kind of wish we can go back to that. It's like, bruh, you guys were having a good time celebrating your sexual freedom, and all of a sudden that's suddenly a bad thing because again, you're getting noticed.
Well,
Like that, that's why I'm,
we,
that's why I'm getting my trouble with them on is where I'm saying
mm,
like this is what you wanted, and yet somehow when, just the moment you get attention, the moment you get what you
yeah.
want, which is attention, suddenly that's a bad thing. So
Well,
am I? Look, before I'm sorry, before you continue, I want to hear
mhm.
I want to hear Leia Plus Size's response to what I'm saying.
Well,
Is
what Trooper brought up in the 90s with Madonna and many other singers that even Jennifer Lopez to some extent um, felt it was
no,
empowering for them to
she
express.
yeah, she expressed her femininity, not her sexuality.
Mm. Oh no, she was twerking
Hey,
on those videos. For we
but
had
she was Sasa in. She was
uh,
Sasa in.
no, we
She
were
she
just coming we were just coming off the six and going into her
her Kenny
J-Ho
Cuckoo.
her J-Ho album. It's like that's okay. That's okay. I used
Nah.
to have
Last
it.
time
I
I checked,
thought
she
I
was
had it somewhere.
Salinas.
Mm.
Last time I checked, she was Salinas, and she was strutting her stuff on that stage, man.
Well,
Come
I'm
on
talking
now,
about
come on.
I'm talking about
This
her
is I'm talking about way before we got Jenny from the block.
well, no, I'm talking about her political move to marry Mark Anthony so she could try to break into the Latin market, or at least, have freaking Mark Anthony freaking produce a lot of her albums, which did not materialize.
And shit
And
movies.
surprise,
Yeah.
Excuse me.
surprise, they ended up not doing very well. Oh well, yeah, I mean, she was also coming off of that coming off of that Bennifer
Geely.
thing with
Yeah,
with what's his face?
Affleck.
Sad bat flick. But well, I mean, look at what he
I
was
agree.
doing. I mean, that was technically his prime, which is kind of depressing. I don't know why they like put him on the altar of like masculinity that he's doing this Batman crap. I mean, truth be told, I mean, he did Daredevil, and then we memory hole that, and we tend to forget that was supposed to be right around his peak. I mean, I hate to say it, he peaked at Dogma.
Mhm.
He had a real, you know, he had a really nice kind of film going with reindeer games. That was kind of cool. For
Till the studio messed that one up. That was a
uh,
whole different movie
my
until the
still,
studio interfered.
yeah, one of my favorite Affleck films till this day. It just happens to be Sum of All Fears, but
Yeah,
that was
I,
that one almost unnoticed because that's a Jack Ryan film. I mean, you have to tie that to Red October, and then
hmm
Chris Pine did some Jack Ryan, and if I remember right, I think Harrison Ford did some. I'm not sure. I mean,
Hmm.
I didn't
I'm
even
starting.
know that it was all Jack Ryan stuff.
Oh, I mean, that is an awesome character.
But then again, I haven't read the Jack Ryan books, so I probably would have noticed if I read the Jack Ryan books.
I just finally got around to watching U-571. It's actually a pretty good film. It's actually a pretty good
I
film.
still need to watch that one.
Oh, you
A lot
gotta
of
watch
people.
it. You gotta watch it. It's not woke. I mean, granted, there's a scene where one of the guys is like, "It's all in German." Well, yeah, you're in a German sub, but I get it. It's exposition. But
No. It's not well because still it was like late '90s when that movie
well,
came out.
yeah, what was it? Dunkirk. While it was not woke, they stayed away from a few hot button topics.
Yeah, they made the enemy invisible, if you will.
darn, darn that cis heteronormative white male.
Hmm. Yeah, if you notice throughout that movie, you do not see the Nazis at all in that movie. Like
Oh well, no.
you see bullets fly.
Oh,
You only get one face of the enemy, which is the German spy,
well, here's the
and
thing:
that's about it.
you can't hold up a mirror to these pink hairs because, again, when you do any type of criticism at this point, I mean, holding up a mirror to them now, I mean, it makes you're quote triggering them to go hide under the rafters. Heaven forbid that you have any type of criticism as to what they're putting into pop culture. And I think I said this on MeWe. Like, here's the thing, guys. For anyone who's on the stream, if you're on MeWe, you already know. I mean, you see some of my posts, or I'll comment on some other posts, and it's
Hmm.
like, And here's the thing. Like, when it comes down to when we talk about woke and we talk about escapism really it tends to facilitate uh, personal development if we're talking about anyone who is either at poverty line or at the middle class line, because I mean you're still within that economic uh, you're still within that stratification of income, if you will, to where you have to manage being able to do certain things with only so much time, and your time away from work or your days off are valuable. So, yeah, you do have to use that escapism to recharge, because if you don't, you're going to be even more stressed out. But once we get to the hoi polloi, or the high middle class end, and we start going up, that's where you get that cognitive dissonance. And I had made the point that these are the same people, and we're talking about the NFL, NBA, your LeBrons, your your Gretas, if you will. Basically, everyone who more or less is now like dictating what our culture is, down
A
to
freaking
the
14-year-old girl trying to dictate us about the environment.
it is
Please, yes.
it is ma'am, it is ma'am. Yeah, so yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
basically that's what it is. But the cognitive dissonance is that they see the world as how they would like it to be, and as the 9 to 5 person, you have to be practical. As a 9 to 5 person, yeah, you know what, you have to save up to get that Blu-ray, but once you get that Blu-ray of, we'll we'll say that you allegedly came across Harmy's despecialized Star Wars by honest means, because the whole point of coming across those is you have to already own a copy. You're not trying to be very salacious as to how you get those items, because you're not supposed to make money off that stuff. But I mean, we'll go even further. We'll take me for example. Right now my situation's a little weird to where I can't really do what I'm normally used to doing, but
Mm-hmm.
I was able to suck it up, and I was like, you know what, I need some Jet Li right now. So I got my hands
what
on.
you
I got my
what you
well. I
get?
was
What you get?
well. I got a few things. I got myself some Fists of Legend. I got myself
Oh heck
Fearless.
yeah, dude!
Oh, dude. Okay. So the way you watch this, is you got to buy Fearless, and you got to watch, and you got to buy Fist
Mm-hmm.
of Legend. But the way you do this, is you have to watch Fearless first,
Mm-hmm.
and then you watch Fists of Legend. And then what it ends up being like is like, it's I can't what it ends up being, and I can't think of his name right now because it's I want to say Yuan.
Oh, you enjoy?
Yes. So okay, so we know his story from Fearless,
Yeah.
but what we don't know is how far his relationship with Moon went, if you will.
Right.
Cool, whatever. And then you get to Fist of Legend, and then you have Zen Chen. So it's like, it's kind of cool because it's like, okay, maybe Master had an illegitimate child he couldn't necessarily outright claim, and with any type of
They don't
Asian
really say how
culture
long he was
at the
there
time.
at that one island that he
Well,
got whisked away.
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like with a lot of like not necessarily modern Asian society, a lot of that has been relaxed in some areas a little bit. But having illegitimate children is just something you just don't do.
Mm-hmm.
So it could easily be seen as his pupil is almost like an illegitimate child that you don't know of. I mean, it's vague enough, and with these and with these Asian films, they don't always match up in terms of narratives. There's always like plot holes, or what we would call plot holes. So what's really funny about Fist of Legend is, if you're watching it, and this is for the people in the stream, is that the way you'll see the subtitles, the character is literally his first name is Chen, last name is Zen. But obviously, if you're listening to the Mandarin, it's always proper that surname first, then first name. So it's kind of weird. So I mean, if you're used to saying that properly, as far as surname then first, then when you see it on the subtitles, it's a little confusing, which I thought was kind of cool. But I also got Unleashed. What else did I get?
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting Warlords. I got that,
Hmm.
and I'm still waiting on a copy of Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh,
Nice.
classic.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Yeah.
classic one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what I noticed is in Fist of
Dude, you need to
Legend,
get Twin Warriors or the
I
Tai
will
Chi
have.
Master as is really as is naturally called Tai Chi Master, but it's Twin Warriors in the States.
Well, I need to get more Dragon Dynasty films. Absolutely. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where escapism comes in in terms of martial arts. Like, I literally just needed to watch some stunts. And what's really cool about these films is that these stunts were done so fast for the tech of that time that Jet Li and his subsequent co-stars had to slow down their moves. And they still had to slow down that camera action to the point where it's blurred. That just lets you know how athletic these martial arts actors were at that time, versus the camera and the taping that went
Hey
on.
man,
It's like,
you know what you need to get next?
hmm,
Jackie Chan wise,
hmm.
Armor of God.
Okay, I'll have to look. Well, I'll have to look into it because
You,
I want to get a few
hey,
more
hey,
deadly things.
you know how I sell Armor of God to people?
Hmm.
Is Jackie Chan fighting quote unquote Amazonian black women
Really?
at near the end.
Oh wow! You know China doesn't like that. Well, look
What
at
about you,
okay.
Led Plus? Have you seen that movie, Armor of God?
I have not seen that, so I'm sorry I can't
Oh
contribute
my
to the
goodness. Well,
conversation.
Well,
Here's the thing. The funny thing about that fight between Jackie Chan and the Amazons, as they're called,
hmm.
and so in majority of the shots, it's dudes cross dressing as women fighting Jackie Chan because
Oh wow,
obviously,
lady boys.
I've yeah, well not necessarily late. Well, yeah. Anyway, you can call it that, but
Yeah.
obviously you got to consider the physiology between man and woman. So of course, for the complex flips that they have to do, the some of the hits that they're probably gonna have to take from Jackie Chan, you will have to
Hmm.
replace them with men. Just like keep forgetting her name, Cindy Rothrock. Yeah,
Okay.
Cindy Rothrock. There was a movie where she was fighting a dude. She was doing. Now, mind you, she's a stunt woman. She is a stunt
Hmm.
woman.
Hmm.
She is fighting one of the bad guys, but for a complex scene, which required her to fall into a table, they had to replace
Hmm.
her with a guy with padding
Hmm.
because obviously like women are not built like men.
Well, I
So
mean,
so so
if
where I'm going with this is the hilarity of it all. Like the
yeah.
fact that and another movie that played a joke with that. I'm gonna get you, sucker. Have you
Hmm.
guys ever heard of that one?
Yes, I've seen that
I've heard
several
of it, but I've
times.
never seen it.
I've seen it.
So, so there's a
Yeah, I've
scene
seen it.
so there's a scene where Keenan Ivory Wayans mom takes action, right?
Hmm.
And when she does, she gets replaced by a Mexican dude.
Well, okay,
And she
so
beat
that
I
and
was
she
get
beats
it.
up
during the
all
time
the
that.
guys. And that was basically a play on how when women do get into the complex fighting, they're
Hmm.
always replaced by dudes with wigs and cross dressing. So,
I
Well,
get
that
you.
but
was like around the time when like Wayans films were taken off, right? Like was it
mhm.
like It's Friday and White Chicks
Can I
and
can
Oh
I
no, don't
interject?
even.
Can I
Go
right
ahead,
quick? I'm
Lynn.
gonna let you go back since Trooper brought up the Wayans. And I was going
yeah.
to say when we were talking earlier, Wolf, when we were talking about remember that run in the '90s when everything was in the hood, those in the hood movies after the success of Boys in the
Hmm.
Yes,
Hood. I
like New
love it.
Jack City,
Right. All of a sudden,
Sugar
Holly,
Hill.
yes,
I remember Sugar Hill. Oh,
yes. All of a
New
sudden,
Jersey Drive.
New Jersey Drive, Juice, um, Poetic Justice, all these films,
oh my goodness.
the
Oh my
hood,
goodness.
I call them the hood run movies because Boys in the
Yes.
Hood was so successful. Now
Mm.
Hollywood decided, oh wow, black people like those in the hood movies. Let's make more of them.
No.
And I love how the Wayans brothers did "Don't Be a Menace to Society by Drinking Your Juice in the Hood." I love the fact that they spoofed that genre. I love the fact
Yeah.
that they basically did it because the reason they did it was because they themselves were getting tired of hood movies. They said, "Why is
Yeah.
it that Hollywood always was doing?" Because they were trying to get roles themselves, and all they wanted Damon, and all they wanted to do was play, either the pimp or the drugged out drug dealer that you saw in the hood movies. So they sat down and said, let's make a movie where we spoof all the stereotypes that these films produce and what Hollywood wants to see.
Hmm.
And
Well, the
that's
cool
why I'm
thing.
glad they spoofed it.
Yeah, the cool thing is the Wayans brothers took it a step further and they became their own production company, if you
Hmm.
will. Because it was it Keenan Ivory Wayans and then it was
We're brothers. We're happy and we're
yeah.
singing and we're colored. Da-na-na-na. Give me a high five.
Yeah,
Marlon,
so
yeah. Mhm.
yeah, you had Marlon
That's it.
Wayans.
That's right. That's beautiful, guys. Dynamite. All right. Okay.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yes.
and talking about in living color, it being 2021, we could not do a handyman film. a handyman
Oh
action
wow.
film. I would
No.
love,
Mm-mm.
I would love to get the blessing from the Wayans brothers and do a handyman freaking superhero film.
I
I
gotta
mean,
look them up
I mean, we
to get
got
my
Mhm.
MCU,
memory
we
right.
got DCEU, we got Jar Jar rebooting, and
Bruh,
we're getting
now that
Sam
you mentioned
Wilson as
that,
Superman now. It's like,
you know who I would like to see a movie of?
who?
Repair man.
Oh wow. You
Repair
know,
man.
and if we really want to get really derogatory with it, we can literally do, okay, we can do the whole Hollywood, we can play that game too. I can go ahead and I can do a remake of Cable Guy and gender swap that.
Oh wow.
Oh.
I know you could pick to do that.
Who?
So you know who will play Matthew Broderick's part?
Huh.
Deschanel.
You could do that.
Okay.
You could do that.
Yeah, you get that. I can
And
see that. Yeah.
for Jim Carrey, this will have to be very this will have to be uh
Well, I was gonna
it
go
would
with
it
what's her
wouldn't have to,
face from Ghostbusters 2016. I can't think of her name right now. Freaking Milo
Kristen
was
Wiig,
always no, no.
Melissa
I
McCarthy.
no, no,
Oh
no, not
no!
Jessica
No.
I think I know
Hamby.
you talking about blonde hair chick.
Nope, 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 no, no.
Leslie
I'm
Helen.
ta- no, I'm talking about what's her face. I can't think of her name. I can see her face like freaking was it Leslie Jones?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Leslie Jones. Yeah,
she's
Leslie
the black
Yes,
woman.
Jones. Yeah.
yes. You know,
As the
she's a
cable
little.
guy,
Yes, it'd be
I
Cable
can see
Woman.
that.
But yeah, I would. I mean, I would just have to make sure her jokes were like on par, and they would just have to be rude, and they would have to be like classic hood
Oh no,
rude.
we don't need her to be Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
that's Jim Carrey stuff. Like, just let her be her own thing.
yeah. Because I mean, if we're doing these remakes like Hollywood does the remakes, then I need to be a little tone deaf too, and be like, oh well, we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna replace, we're gonna replace the cis heteronormative male with a POC and give her some really cool raunchy jokes, and
I'll
then
tell you one thing. If somebody call me a POC, I'm like, motherfucker, you call me a color person? Is that what you call me?
I'm
Do I
calling you.
look?
I'm calling you
Do you
people of
see no
change.
colors
I'm calling you
allowed?
people of change.
I'm like, bruh. Do you
Not
see?
change like I need money. Change like be the change you want to be in the world. Change.
I'm like, bruh. Do you see any non-colored signs around here? Do you
I can
see
draw.
any non-colored signs?
I can draw you some because I'm able to. So like,
I'm like, do I look like a colored person to you?
well, it depends of the context because I mean there's different types. So
I'm just saying, man.
Well,
Like, go
remember we
ahead.
remember we discussed earlier. Now that Trooper brought up his idea. Remember our movie studio? Okay, so he's
Yeah.
come in with his idea, but it sounds like that you like it. If he comes to you and he pitches. We had fun with this last on Tuesday about what our studios would be like. So
Yeah.
Wolf, he pitched the idea to you. So
Well, here's the thing.
you're
Well, here's the thing, though.
well,
Here's the thing.
Cable
Not
Guy
what
reboot.
the reason why
Martin
I'm
Lawrence
open to
couldn't do
it.
Shenane now. Like we're in
I'm
that
just
time in
saying. The only
2021 where
reason
he
why
couldn't do
I'm
Shenane.
open to
Yeah.
I'm very open about it. I'm just saying the reason why I'm open about it because there's never a moment where he says, "Well, we are redefining the cable guy. We're redefining the toxic masculinity in the
Yeah,
cable guy." Never
yeah,
once. He basically gave me a proper elevator pitch
like
to a remake to the cable guys. That's what
yeah.
I'm saying. Like
I would
that's one
want
thing I
to
gotta
do.
really work on myself, especially if I had to get into the industry. Work on my elevator pitch. I'm not here to push a message or push politics. I'm here to sell a product.
No, what I would do is I would do kind of like a Cagney and Lacey film, but it's 2021, so I couldn't get away with doing this. But
And here's the thing. Let me
instead of doing like a
address
Tyne Daly kind of
Melissa
film,
Harris's comment about Jim Carrey. That's the whole point. That the remake is not replaced. That's not what it means.
Yeah,
That's not what remake is. That's what I'm saying. Like we wouldn't
that's a
want
reboot.
Leslie. We wouldn't really want. That's why I said we're not gonna make Leslie be like Jim Carrey. We're gonna make Leslie be Leslie Jones.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's like we're not gonna have her chasing after Zoe Deschanel, waving her arms around with her mouth low, with her lips poked
Oh
out,
goodness. Oh
with
goodness.
her eyes glowing green and all that stuff. No.
Melissa, I will give you the female empowerment film that you didn't know you wanted, but
Okay,
you
door.
needed.
Bye.
I
Well,
was
here's the
just
thing. I was gonna
oh
say we wouldn't be able to do a Cagney and Lacey type film now, but what I would want to do is maybe, heck, it's 2021. I can offend some people.
Wait. Hang on.
I,
Listen to this.
I
Listen
would
to
want
this,
to
guys.
do. I would want to
Hang
do
on, hang
Wanda.
on.
I would want to do Wanda and Shanae in like a Cagney and
Hang
Lacey
on.
type
Hang
film.
on. Let me read this real quick.
Wanda and
Sam
Shanae.
Parker
Yes.
says. Sam Parker says, I was just playing movie score views in the background and was in sync with the first note of the Jaws theme. So I'm trying to imagine what that would sound like. Boom 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 boom.
Hmm.
Oh, and Melissa. Oh no.
There's so many good characters
Oh
that just in
no. Check this
2021
out.
just can't.
Hey, check this out.
Come.
Let me read this out loud. Mm-hmm. 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 Dun 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 dun. Oh
and,
wow.
and and
You
bye
need to
at the end.
bruh,
Mm.
you need to get some editing software, put that in there. Put my voice in that. Let's see how that's gonna play out.
But yeah, in Living Color had and also Martin Lawrence and his original characters. There's so many original characters you just could not do in 2021. So
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I would love to freaking revisit some of those characters. I would love to revisit Little Magic. Well, I mean, we got Beyonce, so that's about as close as we can get. But I mean, even
Wanda
Little.
Nah, let her try in vain to sell us Black is Beautiful.
I mean, y'all remember when En Vogue was on the show, and Wanda was like the fifth member.
yes, I remember that episode. Yeah. I was just gonna say Wanda and Shanae in a picture. Now there's a show for you right there.
Yes,
You got
yes,
one,
two female detectives, two
yeah,
female
or like
detectives.
instead of Falcon would just get started with a soldier, you could call it
Oh,
Wanda
that would
and
have been so good. That would
Shanae.
have been so good.
Yep.
Like, like, darn, and you could just give it like a catchy name.
Yeah,
It would be
yes,
like,
yeah, a catchy name.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they
yeah.
Wanda and
So,
Shanae try to reform themselves back into society.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Wanda, yeah.
Don Powell had a question that I want to address too. I had lingering for a while, but I want to answer
Yeah,
this question. He
yes,
says, "What are
please.
your favorite works of fiction that feature funny animal characters?" Obviously, the Looney Tunes, being
Yeah.
one. Tom and Jerry. Of course, Robin
Bolt,
Hood.
definitely Bolt.
Bolt, Bolt. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else.
I tried to go back to Bolt. I do remember watching it more times than I needed to, but like revisiting now, I'm like, this is not as good as I thought it was when I was
Yeah,
marginally younger, and I think it was because of John Travolta's voice.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
He can sing though; he can sing real good. So
I mean, if we're
that's
talking
saving
about
grace.
animal
And of
characters,
course, there's Miley Cyrus. I guess maybe because of the fact that Miley Cyrus voiced the human character, knowing
mhm.
where her career took her, probably also messed that up.
Hey, I
Basically
like the
anything.
song "Midnight Sky," so everything
Wow.
else I don't really like. You know,
I'm just
you
saying,
know.
basically anything of the olden days, like Tom and Jerry, from anything that's Tex Avery wise,
Mhm,
especially Heathcliff and the Cadillac Cats, of course.
mhm.
There's also the hardcore stuff like the Secret of Nim.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
Of
You're
course,
a Black Crystal.
The
Dark
Rescuers.
Crystal, Rescuers.
Yeah, Rescue Rangers,
Yep, Rescue
Hmm.
Tailspin.
Rangers,
Yep.
Tailspin,
What is it?
even the Wars
Scrooge
of
McDuck.
Virtue.
You know,
Yeah, Ducktales.
Ducktales.
Basically anything of old Disney Silly Symphony classics, and there's also the oh, it was at my head, and Trooper then threw me off guard with the Tailspin stuff. Uh,
Oh yeah.
Captain Sim. Yep,
Oh
Captain
yeah.
Simian in the Space Monkeys, of course.
Yeah.
Schooner would have helped me out if he was here, of course. And there was also Gummy Bears bouncing here and there and everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. That I mean, that was a good time in the '80s and even into the '90s. Um, in terms of just the flexibility of characters. So now that we're talking about escapism, just the reviews that I've seen off the new Mortal Kombat film, there was definitely a lot more escapism in the original Mortal Kombat film.
You know,
I mean,
Trooper, go ahead. I was just going to say, I was watching the original one the other night because I did not like the new one. And I have mad respect for that first one. That first,
Yeah.
after watching this remake, that first one looks like Shakespeare.
You actually saw the movie?
Yeah, I did. It was, some theaters are opening up where I was at. And on a Sunday afternoon, I decided to get out the house, maxed on, and went out. I said, well, you know what? I'll check this out. Maybe this, like you said, escapism. I just want a good movie to take me out all the misery going on. And God, that was not worth it. That was awful because everybody was telling me. Some people said it was great. Some people said it wasn't. I said maybe it won't be so bad. But oh my God, because I know I posted a video on the professor's page that Filmation did a review of it, and they were dead on the second one, and it's dropped in the box office. I can see why. The first one, the original one, with Christopher Lambert is way better than that one. That one's the first one is like a masterpiece now, you know, compared to that one. And you can't help but get up and I always say that opening theme song just wanted me to get up and move. I still shake it a little bit when I hear that opening song for the first one.
No.
But oh no.
Dun, 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 dun. I somewhere, honestly, in a box, somewhere in a deep dark cave, with really good Wi-Fi, I have a copy of the Mortal Kombat soundtrack somewhere. I'd have to go digging around for it, but I do have it. I have it for the. I originally got it for the Orbital track that's on there, but then Tracy Lords also appears on the soundtrack, and that actually prompted me to get her album. I didn't know she was a porn star. So I got her album and I'm like, what is this? And her album is so terrible, it's good. The woman cannot sing worth a dang, but you know what? I mean, it's one of these things where, they're like, oh yeah, hot porn star, let's put it on a CD, it'll sell. It sure did, because I bought one. So,
but the funny thing is, the first movie, I remember the whole plot of, and someone talked. I remember the whole story of the first one, but I don't remember crap from this new one. But the first one,
I'll tell you what. And the biggest criticism that it was given was the fact that Cole Young had plot armor, and it had to do with the fact that the studio inserted Cole Young into the film. So they did the best that they could with that character. I would have liked to have seen more, and maybe him becoming the new Scorpion. I mean, if you haven't already seen the film and have no plans on seeing it, Cole Young is related to a major character, not Sub-Zero. That tells you. So, now they're like, oh, Noob Saibot coming up in the next film. I'm like, look, this was a prequel that did not need to be done.
Whoa. So he's not gonna. So a lot of people thought he was gonna be the younger brother. What was his name? Kuai Liang.
Well, Bihan bit the big one in this film, and we got no tournament.
We
got no tournament. Again, this is a prequel. again, this is a prequel that did not need to be made. You know how like you would make a film, then you go back and you make a
See,
prequel because
this is why Annihilation failed, because it was not a tournament, and
yeah,
they forego the tournament.
well, yeah, well, I mean, they had tournament style fights, but it was not the tournament itself. At this point, Earth Realm is 9-0. So I mean, so in the next film, if it's green lighted, we might get a
Now we're
tournament,
gonna get
but
Mortal
we got to
Kombat.
win that one, or else and here's the thing,
And they already
everyone's
killed some of the wars before they even participated.
well, they killed Goro, or rather, Cole Young did. But
What?
we could easily say that was a Goro clone. We don't know. I mean, this is supposed to be a huge retelling of a fun universe. But this is what I will
See,
say.
this is one thing I can't stand with these kind of remakes. They try to overcomplicate the simple story of something that's so simple. The fact that it's a movie about a tournament that you have to win 9 fights in order to save your realm, or else if
Hmm.
you lose, some dude from another dimension is going to come and excuse me, muck your shit up. Oh,
Well,
there I
yeah,
go again.
and people are complaining, oh, well, they don't really go into why Shao Kahn adheres to rules. And I'm like, when you're an
Uh,
Eternal and you're bored and you have nothing left to do but to destroy, every piece of humanity and find a way to pervert it in a way that, you might get, you might get a rise out of it, if you will. You start coming up with rules to make things interesting. So it's kind of like the last scene from Dracula that
in the
everyone.
case of the actual lore, the elder gods ordained the rules to be upheld, unless they find a way to bend the rules. In the case of Mortal Kombat 2, the game, I mean, not Mortal Kombat
Well,
Annihilation.
yeah. I mean, what are rules if not meant to be broken, or at least bent, or at least the whole point is we're in one big sandbox. Unfortunately, we have to live with all the pink hairs that are in this sandbox as well. But while we're in this sandbox, we have to make the best of it.
Can't believe you actually used sandbox, and my mind immediately imagined us at the sandbox playing with our little sandcastles, and there they are with the pink hairs, with their arms crossed, just staring at us and hate stroking their vajayjays at us.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because my castle bucket is better than her castle bucket, but she wants
But
my
she hasn't
castle
built.
bucket.
Here's the kicker. They say that it's better, but there's no castle, no sandcastle where they're standing.
Well, they don't have to. They just have to, they just have to identify with there being a castle there. Again, we're taking all the effort out of being a productive human being and saying that you're a productive human being, because it in their mind it equates the same thing.
Well, see, the thing is, that's why we need escapism, because the pink hairs and the SJW fembots and the woke bots
Hmm.
and the invasion of the woke snatchers, they are sucking away, because they've done that to Kevin Feige's mind now, but
Hmm.
they are basically eating away at escapism. Escapism is no longer escapism. Now in these movies, we have to teach you how to live, because they
Well,
feel
yeah.
we as fans, you don't know how to live. You don't know your choices. So we
Well,
have to program you, and we're going to do it through your entertainment. So
well,
you don't have
yeah.
escapism anymore.
Well, yeah, because after a certain dollar amount, you know better as to how the world functions. So you need to tell the tax cattle and the little plebes who devour your content that this is how it actually is. I mean, look at what Tana Titi Wokes is going to be doing with Superman.
Oh God,
It's not going
yeah.
to be it's not going to be Calvin Ellis. It's going to be it's going to be Kal-El. So. And now, mind you, everyone made a big stink that it was on, Calvil's birthday, blah 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 blah. Here's my thing: when someone does something like that, it's literally to make a statement. It has nothing to do with the fact that it was his birthday, and has everything to do with the fact that, granted, yes, it is May 5th, but what they're getting at is that this is your Superman now, not the other Superman. This one that we're giving you. It's not so much to insult not so much to change the narrative, but as a signal to send to the actor, hey, you might want to look for something else. because you're already starting to have too much success with Witcher, and we're not happy. So
Yes, you're a toxic white male. Even and even though you're sexy, don't matter. And women will pay. You're losing all that money because there are women who love Henry Cavill and will pay to the nose to see it. But no, we can't have that.
I'm out suspicious of fun talk.
Yeah,
no, yeah, we gotta have
the
Michael B.
3 hour mark.
Jordan.
yes.
You know,
Mhm.
show up being a hood rat in Metropolis, coming up like, "Hi, Auntie." I'm like, really?
Hey,
I'm like,
auntie.
yeah, that's exactly where we're going.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Exactly
we're
where we're
doing.
going.
And he's going to stick it to all the white police officers. That's what he's
Well,
going to defeat. They're not going to be Zod. They're going to be white cops, and he's going to
Right
take them
now,
down with his
Michael B.
superpower.
Jordan is kind of like my last bastion
hold on a second, I'll be right back.
of new black actors I can actually vouch for more.
Mm-hmm.
Because I already know I know Morgan Freeman got my back. He ain't down for that, and Denzel Washington got my back too, because he ain't down for that either. He praised the police
Mm-mm.
too, and he ain't afraid. He ain't
Yeah,
afraid
he
to go
did.
back on what he said. Now, I'm talking about what about the new black actors? It's hard to find them now. Like I used to have that same hope with Don Cheadle and Anthony Mackie. Not so much no more.
Not so much anymore. Same thing. Well, the thing
Not
now,
so much.
also, I want to bring up. I don't think Michael Jordan wants to do this Superman movie. I think he said. I think he made a statement that I was going to do it because he thought it was going to be an original character. But when they said it
Yeah,
was going to be Black Clark Kent, he said, nah, I don't think that's for me. So it sounds like he's starting to come to his senses a little bit. So I'm like you, Wolf. I'm
because
having
he
some
probably
hope.
grew up on real Superman, and that's not real Superman to him.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, you're right. You're right. He did. He's a comic book fan. And what they don't know is he is very knowledgeable of the lore. He's not just a black guy going into there and just doing the black characters. He
Hmm.
knows the lore, as he was trying to explain to Oprah, but it went Oprah's head because she don't read that stuff. But he said that now
Oh, I would love to
just
track down that interview, see how that went down.
I'll see if I think it's on YouTube. I don't know. They say it might have been taken down, but I will see if it's still available. But he explained. Well, this is at first because when the thought of him being Superman came up, Oprah was like, "Can you imagine you as Superman? You as Superman? You as that?" And then Michael B. Jordan said, "No, no, no, I don't want to go there. There is another Superman from another universe that's his own character. I would like to play that." But Oprah was like, "I don't know who that is. I just see you as Superman." But
Well
yeah,
said,
Dominic
Dominic
Powell.
Powell.
Yeah.
Yes, he
He
did.
says
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan also said in a previous interview said he doesn't want to be a race swap, a race change Clark Kent. He wants to be either Valzad or he read comics, man. He
Yeah.
read comics.
Well,
He knows what he's talking about.
He knows what he's
You
talking
give
about.
someone enough money, they will do it. So that's what it really comes down to. You know.
Victoria, but Trooper, he's kind of backtracking a little bit. You still think they're gonna try to seduce him in there because he
Oh no,
now
they
is
will. They
saying
absolutely will. You got to remember, it's Jar Jar who's writing the script. So you
they
In
know
the
said
what?
same vein,
Whatever
he
star clout he
knows.
has, like I will
I
tell
will
you,
say
he's not an
this.
A-list. He's a B-list
I
actor
will
at best.
say this though. I will
So
say this though.
yeah,
Michael B. Jordan knows full well that he is set for life with the way with the amount of money he's been making for the many films that he's been in as well. He's been in multiple amounts of movies so far. And this is remember, you gotta remember, this guy was in a movie with Keanu Reeves at one point.
well, he was
Anybody remember
also in a movie with Kate Mara as the Black Human Torch. So I mean, there's not a lot of faith there either. So.
right?
right. Maybe he learned. Maybe
I'm
he
just saying,
learned his lesson.
when I looked him up when I looked him up years ago,
Mhm.
like I, I I found out that he played in Hardball with Keanu Reeves along with many other young promising black actors
Hmm.
in that movie. I was like, oh, he was the one that ran away and joined the gang at the end.
Mhm.
If you ever saw that movie, Leia or Trooper,
I did. I forgot
have
about
you
it,
seen
but I did
Hardball?
remember it.
Oh no, no, I never watched it.
Yeah, he was the one that he. Yeah, when Kofi and G Baby, I'm pretty sure you remember G Baby.
Hmm.
No, not ringing the bell.
I haven't seen it in a while, so
He's the
you'll
one
have
that
to
died at
refresh
the
my
end,
memory.
sadly.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, he's the
yeah,
one
I
that died.
remember.
Yeah, yeah, oh, that was a rough scene. That was a rough scene.
Yes.
But no, Michael B. Jordan's character was the one that that was there with the gangbangers that told him not to go in there because they're about to do a hit on somebody.
Oh,
He
okay.
was the one that ran in the middle of the game, and later on they found out that he joined the gang. That was Michael B. Jordan's
Mm,
character,
okay.
which was interesting. And of course, the boy who played I think his name was Roger, the one that said "We want to play, bitch."
Oh,
He
goodness.
played in he was in
Goodness.
Pootie Tang. Yeah, he was in Pootie
Mm-mm.
Tang. He was young. He was Pootie Tang's friend when he was young. That was. I'm just spreading some little trivia there. But yeah, like I said, he came from that and all the way up to Creed to playing Killmonger and Black Panther. He was
But
in
he's not
some
at
other stuff that we.
he's not at his
I'm just saying
peak
he.
yet. One could argue that Superman might be a peak film because I mean we do have the reboot king doing it, but I mean I
Well,
honestly thought maybe Fantastic Four would have been the quote unquote breakout film, but I mean that didn't work. That didn't go anywhere. I mean that thing tanked.
that
So
tanked. Yes, yes. So, but it's interesting. Well, I give him. I'm like you. I give him a little threat because at least maybe he's not taking the bait just yet. He started. He said very clearly, "I'd rather be Calvin Ellis or this character, but I don't want to be a Black Clark Kent." So we'll just see how this
So he.
saga plays out.
That's
But
like saying.
I give
That's
him
like
that he's trying to tell them something, but it seems like they're not
yeah.
listening to him.
well, I think what they're doing, and if
It's
I
like he's
remember right,
saying.
is that for right now,
It's like they're
this
saying.
is this is its own
Mhm.
thing. They're not necessarily incorporating it into quote unquote the Snyderverse. I
Right.
think what's going on is I think we're moving into their version of New 52. And I mean
Mhm.
DC obviously. I
Hmm.
think we're moving into something like that. So
But do we see? I don't need a black Clark Kent. I don't need a black. I don't. Superman is Clark Kent or
I want an
Jor-El or
icon.
whoever. Yeah, you have
Man,
Vixen, you have
if I was in the same
Icon,
room
you have
as
Static
if I was in the
Shock.
same room with
hmm.
sorry, continue.
Oh, I said you have Vixen, you have Static Shock, you have Icon, you have this whole library. You have Jordan, the Black Green Lantern. You could do it. Like Michael B. Jordan could do a movie about him because but
Yeah,
they're original Black characters. They're there. Why are
which is
they
what
not
you
chosen?
want to do.
Yeah,
Well, and here's the problem, and I meant to bring it up in the last stream, and I never got around to it, and we never really actually touched on it. There are certain
Right.
black characters they just don't like to touch inherently because of the way they are written. Um, and one of those characters, for example, on the MCU side, is Luke Cage. And he's a very strong character. He's a very strong male character. He's inherently male. Um, and you know how the rights from Netflix are now reverting to Marvel. They pretty much said most of the cast for all these shows are coming back. The one thing that has not been announced, and I want to say it's on purpose for right now, is Luke Cage. He is what we would consider to be problematic because you can't have someone like Luke Cage. You really can't. I mean, you got to have someone that's
Be
gonna,
the role model to black boys they think Luke Cage is going to encourage black boys to slap their women more. They
Well,
really want to
I
dress.
was gonna say,
is that what it is? Because I thought is it
well,
because
Luke Cage is
he's not a white version. He's not a black version of a white
no,
character.
no,
Is
no,
that
no, no. Like, okay, so okay, one, Luke Cage is not a race
I'm
pimp,
being
and
facetious, by the way, but
two, it's like he's not. I don't want to say a black Captain America, but is he has been through hell and back, and he's his own person, and he has his own views, and that's it. It's um, and that's why Luke Cage works. because just by his sheer personality, he rallies those around him, even though he's not trying to. I mean, look at the community he had in this series. Like, every character that was around him served a purpose and told a portion of Luke Cage's story, especially Pops. So, I mean, you rewrite someone like Luke Cage, guess what? You're going to get a lot of the, let's call it what it is. You're going to get a lot of the community who loves the comics, and especially, the Black community who have grown up with Luke Cage, saying that's not Luke Cage. Like, you're doing something completely different with him. So it's like, it's easier to take another character like Superman and do a race swap, or it's easier to go ahead. I always want to say it's easier to take a character that's already been pre-established, that's not necessarily African American, and do the race swap that way.
Yeah, because but you did. Go on.
Because, well, you know how like Steve Rogers is very altruistic, and that's because of the serum. Luke Cage is like that, but he achieved his level of altruism through suffering, because you remember how many experiments he was subjected to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't like he got the magic serum and poof, he was, truth, justice, and the American way. Now Luke Cage is that too.
And mind you, he was did dirty by a racist warden.
Yep. Yeah,
I mean, he came about it. That's not the point. The point being is that sorry, give me a minute, because I do remember the warden being a racist in the show, right?
Oh yeah,
that never bothered me.
No, and that's
that
not
never really bothered me,
because that's part of Luke's story.
Because exactly. That being said, also there was never a racist white cop ever again in that show. That was just that one for that backstory, because they had to talk about that backstory, of course, and they had to fill it to the T. Mm-hmm. Let's not also forget that there was a Black writer on Luke Cage that is a good Black writer, mm-hmm. who wrote the show, which I didn't really watch. I didn't really care for it. My mom loved it though. The Wire. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If anybody remember The Wire.
Yes.
But that's the thing.
My mom, my stepdad was recognizing characters from The Wire in that show, and I was like, yeah. I told him,
yeah, you're not going to see original Black characters go woke.
Like most of the episodes, or at least most of.
Like, you got to remember, these pink hairs also have their sacred cows. So you're not going to see original Black characters go woke, especially original Black characters from, say, DC or Marvel. What you'll see is, say, someone like Gambit. All right, now we have Black Gambit, or obviously the Black Superman bit. I mean, it's easier to do that than to take an original character and then be like, turn him into the Al Sharpton or the Maxine. Be like, I don't know what's best for you. You just got to get a crowd. We don't. You got to stand up for this. Blah 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 blah. Or we're not vocal enough. And it's like,
pretty much Sam's speech from Falcon with special guest star Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
yeah. That's what it was. Yeah.
And they were able to do that with Sam Wilson taking on the mantle of Captain America, because everyone perceives Captain America to always be Steve Rogers, because in essence, that's what it is. But when we came to 2015, we saw that substitution with Sam Wilson. So, and where it makes sense that it would go to Bucky, because that's how it's always been in terms of what we know as comic book soft canon. Well, they're quote subverting expectations, and I kind of get it, but there's no reason to take the tone that they took with with Sam Wilson, special guest star Bucky Barnes.
It's very true. Yep, that's all it was.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
because if we were going to do that, then why don't we do something like what they're going to do with the Marvelettes? Why can't we have, the three captains or the three caballeros, if you will? Like I said
Marvel.
before in the last stream, yeah, like Captain America can't be in, all places at one time, but if you have three captains, they can be in three places at three times. So, but
They're trying to do their own version of the Bat family too much in these
yeah.
most of these comics.
But I got to get going because I've got
Oh right, right.
to make.
Yeah, just letting you guys know he was
Yeah,
here temporarily.
yeah, I got to make another trip across town and then eventually make my way home. So, for
All
everyone in the
right.
chat,
Okay.
it was absolutely fun seeing you. Leia, it's always fun seeing you. Wolf, as always, whenever we have a sit down, it's fun. So, mind you, the show's
Yep.
not ending yet, but definitely hit like, share, and subscribe, and go ahead and put in the comments your version of what escapism means to you and what stories and what characters have made creative solutions for you possible. So it's Trooper FN2525.
Also going
I'm
to be
gonna
putting
get
this as a sorry. Also going to put this as also in need of another part 2.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah,
this
yeah,
is something
cool.
that we
Yeah,
enjoy talking.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Like I said,
Don't
that
want to
is
hold you up, buddy.
yeah, like I said, original characters like Luke Cage, you're not going to see that way. So, all right, guys, I
Yep.
got to dip out. So it was fun. I'll catch you guys later.
All right, Trooper. Thank you for stopping
Cool.
by.
All right, no problem.
Yeah, this could be this is one I think that would be a part 2 of Commander. What was I going to say? Back to um, Jordan. Yeah, I when I first heard Jordan say he didn't want to, I said, well, at least somebody's thinking a little bit. So I'm giving hope that maybe perhaps he's seeing the handwriting on the wall that I want it to be an original Black character, which what we need. We don't need hand-me-downs of established white characters, because to me, and maybe I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, I think all this race swapping is not about diversity or empowerment. It's more about jealousy and tearing down those established white characters. For whatever reason, people they bring on there hate those characters. So instead of creating new ones, and maybe I'm reading what
Grief.
Trooper said, yeah,
Full grief.
grief,
I call it full
full,
grief.
full grief.
Full grief. Yeah. They're in perpetual misery, and everybody want people to grieve for them,
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
which is yeah,
That's what it feels
full
like. 'Cause-
suffering, full grief, full struggle. They're not really struggling. They're actually piggybacking off of somebody else's struggle, but living vicariously through the past ancestors, quote unquote, struggles, which
and that's why
they're never ever going to. Go ahead.
and that's why we're not getting good at escapism, because the people they're hiring now, they're hiring activists. They're not running creative writers. They're writing activists, and these activists who didn't read the homework. Like I actually believe the writers on the Falcon with special guest star, or I should call it Falcon. Oops, I'm really Black Captain America with special guest star Winter Soldier. Probably sit down, Googled those characters, and they don't know anything about them, don't know the story, did some Googling, and then they just jump to, but they don't realize, a lot of them don't realize that before Sam got the shield, Bucky Barnes was Captain America after the loss of Steve Rogers. And all of that was really political at the time with Marvel, when Marvel was turning political. And what's the first thing they do? They get rid of Steve Rogers because he's problematic, but they passed the shield to Bucky, and he had this whole wonderful story arc that would have been just of redemption. That's great to tell, because I tell people redemption, isn't that not an American way also? The fact that you can fight your way from the darkest period in your life and you can fight your way back to humanity. Who cannot relate to that? You may not have been brainwashed from a secret German agency and replaced with a metal arm, but all of us have had the lowest points in our lives where we had to say to ourselves, I got to fight my way out of this hell I'm in, and bring myself back to that. And in that horrible time, you may have done something horrible to people, or maybe you had to pay your debts to society. Maybe you had to spend some time incarcerated, but you came out saying, I'm going to fix my life up. So redemption is a theme that everybody can relate to. So here you have this character that could have given them that. But no, we can't have that. Bucky is still a white man at the end of the day. So we'll just flop it over to Sam, because basically what you're saying is Sam Wilson is Captain America because of he's black. That's it. Well, because even when you know, even when I listen to Mackie's comments, the first thing I want to say is that so this is what you're saying to me. Let me get this straight. All those years in Captain America: Winter Soldier, Age of Ultron, Civil War, Infinity War, as Falcon meant nothing. That wasn't important to you. That you weren't proud of the fact that you were playing this original character that had his own story, that was cool character as already as he was, and you never thought about that. But the only way you feel validated is if you become Captain America, a character who you've got a pass down from, that you've got a hand me down, that you got the leftovers for. So that is more to you than just creating this character that was original, that you helped create and bring to life for all of us. That was his own man within himself. So that
Hmm.
that didn't matter at all to you at all, Anthony Mackie, because you and race was never an issue
I
in
would have been in
interviews
space and
with this
said,
character.
"Dude, I defended the character you play since the MCU took off and your character was first
Yeah,
introduced into the MCU. I like a lot of people kept asking, what's so good about Falcon? Like there's a lot of things good about Falcon. It's the fact that
right.
that he's not gonna sit idly by and not do a damn thing and do his part. Like that like if you really want to view Batman the same way about the fact that he he's human and he's taking on world-ending threats as a human. You need to view Falcon the exact same way because he's doing that exact same thing, even though he's on a flying flying machine. Same thing with
Hmm.
Black Widow. You want to, like I said, powers don't make the hero. What the hero does with the powers, or what they do to choose, what they do enough to choose to do with them, makes them the hero. If you got superpowers and all you want to do all day is sit on your behind and not do a thing, then you're not a hero. You want to say that you're a superhero? No, you're a superpower being that just sit on his butt all day and not do anything. If you want to use it to bully somebody or try to take over, then you are a villain, not a hero. You want to think that you're a hero of your own story because you relate to the villain whom you believe that thinks that they're a hero to their own story, but you're still a villain all the same. I'm still gonna view as a villain, or at least a supervillain, if you have superpowers and you use them to do wrong to other people who ain't got nothing to do with you, who never had anything to do with you, or even those who did have anything to do with you, that you want revenge on. You're still the villain in my eyes because because one, depending on what the crime, or at least whatever thing that they did wrong to you, you still gotta deal with it in court if it was actually a crime, mind you. If it's bullying, yes, you could probably just scare them a little bit. But if you go too far and say harm them terminally, then you're a villain in my eyes because you didn't show restraint. You have the power. Now you need to figure out you got shoulder the burden of responsibility. Like it's like these people tend to forget about you know Uncle Ben from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. You know,
Right.
just because you know how, just because you can beat him doesn't mean what was that line?
Just because you can beat him up doesn't mean you should have, or just because you could beat him up doesn't mean you should have beat him up. Something on that line, I
Mm-hmm.
think, was the line.
Yeah,
He
somewhere on that line. It's like, go ahead.
Yeah, Flash. He fight, and he won the fight. But yeah, something on that line. He told him, just because you could doesn't mean you should. That's basically what Uncle Ben was telling Peter, that you could have done that,
Yeah.
that you should have done it. Just because you could doesn't mean you should. And I can understand the logic
Me,
in
me,
that.
I think along the lines he's saying just because you have the power to beat them now doesn't mean you should be ready to it's like he's basically warning him not to become the bully himself. Is
Right.
where he
Yeah.
was coming
Yeah.
from, and he says, "Remember, Pete, with great power comes great responsibility." That's where he ended it on, and of course, we all know what Peter says after that, and we need the hero to be that way. Sam Raimi did a good job of conveying that, like him
Yeah.
being
He
an
did.
angsty teenager. There's nothing wrong. This is the thing. There's nothing wrong with teenagers. It's how you choose to portray it, and how the teenager choose to handle it afterwards is what gets on our nerves at times, or at least make or break us when we do check out your story. Like yeah, there's you can have the teen angst. Who doesn't? That's true to
Hmm.
life. Teen angst. It's
Yeah.
just how we choose to deal with it. How we go through life with it intact. It's like Peter doesn't stay like that forever. Is what I'm saying
Oh
in the
yeah.
course of the
He
movie,
grows.
especially
Yeah. He
especially
grows.
yeah, especially when he saw what his actions have had caused, the consequences of his actions. So
Right.
he's not always angsting over the job that much. He still goes around helping as best he can, as best he ever could, to the best of his abilities when that chance comes. So he's
And you're right. And Uncle Ben's
I
words were
I
true,
I,
because if
I
you
got nothing to
notice,
say.
well, well, if you notice throughout the film, that's why Sam Raimi's Spider-Man is a classic, and why we still love it to this day. Because Sam Raimi, if you notice with Spider-Man, he doesn't start the fights. He either tries to end it, or he tries to protect the innocent people that are in it. And I think that's because he learned about great power and great responsibility after the fact, that because his actions caused the death of his uncle by not stopping that, by letting that criminal go away, because he was angry that the guy wouldn't give his money. Naturally, it would be, but because of that, he let the criminal go. And what did the criminal do? His uncle lost his life. So now, when he's this hero, if you
Hmm.
notice in the films, he doesn't really start a fight. He's there when someone's in trouble. When he hears the help, or we need help, he puts the mask on and swings through the city. So that's the progression of a character.
There's a line
Nowadays,
in Spider-Man 2 the game. There's always a line he's saying sometimes in Spider-Man 2 the game, especially when it comes to when the game generates a street level mission, or at least a street level thing that builds up your points so you can upgrade Spider-Man. He's always saying,
mm,
I must stop that train, or at least I must stop that car. Somebody might get hurt. It might be you having to stop a group of stop a car chase, basically. The police are chasing after a car, and he's always saying somebody could get hurt, or at least there'll be a gang fight. Like I got to stop that gang fight. Somebody might get hurt, or an innocent bystander might get
mhm.
hurt. That's always drilled into my head, and I like that line because that was a concern in Spider-Man. Somebody might get hurt,
Hurt.
and I
Agreed.
always always
Agreed.
always always play that in my head whenever time I go out my way to help people, either on the job or out on the street. I always say somebody might get hurt.
Oh yeah, because, and see, that's the thing.
You
That's the
know.
problem with. That's the problem. I agree with you with woke culture. Now, in a woke superhero movie, let's say one of the Marvelettes or somebody. Let's say that you put one of them in that scene. Now, if their uncle or aunt, yes, Dominic Powell, is getting out of hand, making the superhero sympathetic. Let's say the same thing happened to Captain Marvel, had an aunt or an Uncle Ben or something, and then she let the criminal go, and the criminal killed Uncle. she won't take responsibility for it. She'll say, well, it's not my fault. It was that toxic white male criminal that killed my uncle because he should have known better. So it's not my fault. But because he killed my uncle, that gives me
Hmm.
the authority to go murder that white male burglar because it's his fault that he got killed. Well, they will take. They won't. They won't. They won't. They won't take responsibility for that. The way Peter Parker learned, they'll put the blame on something else.
Hmm.
Well, if the guy had given me the money, the criminal would have got away, and then no one would have died. So I'm free of it, but I do get to get revenge. So Sam
They
really
don't want
understood
the
that.
burden of responsibility, as I always said.
Right?
I've
They
always
don't
said
want the
that they
burden.
don't want the burden of responsibility.
That's right. And Peter accepted the
Go
burden
ahead.
that his actions led to the death of Uncle Ben. That's the lesson that he learns, and that's when he starts to realize exactly what powers mean. Whereas Steve Rogers, for instance, in First Avenger, he didn't take the serum was not taken for him to win Peggy Carter. He didn't take the serum, and the next day on leave from the war, go strutting his stuff in the street, trying to catch as many babes as he could find because he saw stuff in Biff. That's not the reason
Mhm.
why he took the serum. The serum was he wanted to help just like everybody else. He wanted to be able to do something, but it wasn't selfish. It wasn't, I really want to win Peggy Carter's affection. So if I get these muscles, maybe she'll come around to me. That's not the reason why he that's not the reason why he did it. And that's why, because one of the things I hated, and I hated with a passion, about the Falcon, but I'm really Black Captain America with special guest star Winter Soldier, was they did a lot of crapping on Steve Rogers. They did a lot of crapping on him, saying, well,
Hmm.
he really wasn't special after all, or no, anybody can be, can, and like Anthony Mackie said, well, I'm sure people, anybody can be Captain America. Yeah, but that doesn't mean everybody should be Captain America. You know, you were fine just the way you were. I often say, if I was going to do a Vixen movie from DC, Vixen, and I said, we're going to do a Vixen movie, but you know what? Jennifer Lawrence would play Vixen. Do you know the hell I would catch if I decided to race her up like
Hmm.
that? And Vixen
Now,
would be cool.
now, mind you,
I could.
mind you, there is a Vixen
Mm-hmm.
animated. By the way, it's not. It's okay.
I did see.
It's
Yeah, it was
okay.
okay, but
But it was
there.
in the step in the right. It was basically taking. It's obviously taking place in the Arrowverse back when the Arrowverse wasn't stupid.
Yes,
And
I
yeah,
agree.
that's one of the. No, that was back when that was back when the Arrowverse was great. Like it was solid storytelling all around until, well, the world woke up, for lack of a better term, to
And woke
how
is the
bad it was getting.
yes, exactly.
I
But
would have settled
that
for it, just like Buffy was like really declining in stupid, devolving into stupid plot lines. No, it,
yes,
it just decided that it wants to pander and preach to us now in
I
some
agree with
cases.
you.
And
Because the anime Vixen, I tried to get into it, but I'm like halfway through, I'm like, this show is losing me, which was sad because I was hoping again that here was a chance to take a original Black female character and really introduce her into the world, her own self, her own origin, her own storyline,
I'll tell you where it
and they
almost
they
lost me.
they missed the mark. Go ahead.
I'll tell you where it almost lost me when she made that crack about the hiring manager that her boss had her friend had suggested her to, and she mentioned about like he said he'll get me into the industry if I do a favor for him, and we all know what that kind of favor was. I was like,
Yes,
oh
I
no,
caught.
you're gonna do that
Yes,
too.
yes. I'm like, why'd they stoop that low? Why did they do that?
I'm like,
Why did
this
it? They
this
had me.
don't sell us with this. This see, you know, this is where I say, I kind of agree with the feminists that sometimes some people don't know how to write females, and I'm talking about in the case of, they want to write the way how the feminists want to write, like a female just being oppressed in the workplace,
Yes. Hmm.
being oppressed in the workplace, and of course, basically what they're asking us to do is to write a revenge fantasy for them all the time. All the time they want us
Yeah, yeah.
to do revenge fantasy for them, and all they do is write revenge fantasy. I want to also bring up too, and it's something that Sound Engraver had brought up in one of her streams with the professor also co-hosting with, and they mentioned
Hmm.
the Wonder Woman outfit and how the how the designer had brought up the fact that the red represents all the enemies that she slaughtered, the blood of her enemies that she slaughtered. And I want to say this line. I want to comment on it, but by deemed it inappropriate to Sound Engraver stream. And you want to know what I wanted to say? I was gonna
Go ahead.
say how much. How much you? I was gonna say how much you want to bet she was one of those artists that seemed to be fixated on on a woman's on painting women's menstrual blood on the canvas. How much you want to bet she was one of those types? Because you ever seen that video of the women painting on canvases menstrual blood?
I
And
didn't see it, but I heard something about that.
I'm like, how the number one, how the hell did you accumulate that amount? Because I may not know the woman body, but I don't think they bleed that much. They had,
No,
I'm saying they almost had like big old bowls full of it. I'm like, so you've been saving that up for that blood's gonna dry eventually, and I bet
I
like even if they, but one thing I would say though is even if they did manage to do that, like you can bet that paint that those portraits smell really bad
I
because
think first of all that just
blood ain't sweet.
no, and it's not good hygiene. So I know. I hope they definitely bathe their hands to finish. And a person that wants to use their period blood as art is more disturbed than talented, in my
Hey,
mind.
she said, not me, guys. She's the one that said I will say you know,
Yes, I
me
said
being a
it.
man trying to be pseudo political correct, which you know me my crassness.
Yes.
I was gonna call it their unclean you know self cleaning respiratory self cleaning canals
That's a
canal
mouthful.
juice.
Yep.
I know,
Well, I'll say it
but
then.
that's
I'll
the
say
running
it.
gag for me. I like yeah you said it, not me. I'm like I'm like yeah like when the and the funny thing is they try to play it off like they're enjoying this, but like the girls that they strung along, i.e., kidnapped, they don't seem to be enjoying this. They're actually they're acting like they're warming up to it and all. I'm like, girl, tell yourself the truth. You're not enjoying, using your own menstrual blood as a painting, as paint for a canvas. I'm
Mm-mm,
sorry. They
mm-mm.
like these women, these kind of women, like what you need to you need to get out more often. Is what I'm saying. You need to get out more often and just visit the park and sit underneath a tree or something. You've been in a box too long. That's what I'm
You need some
saying.
help. Oh,
Because
Commander,
when
I
she
have.
mentioned that, okay, yeah. Let me get you. Let's go ahead and get your thoughts out of the way before you go.
Okay, I didn't mean to, yeah, because it's 8 o'clock my time here, and I got to get my dinner going for the
Yeah,
evening.
yeah,
What was I
yeah.
gonna say? Yeah, they I was just going to say anybody, yeah, they need they like I said, anyone that wants to use their menstrual cycle blood for art, that is not talent. That is somebody who is disturbed and they need some therapy. They need to go on a vacation and they got a lot of hate in them. There's a lot of that going around. I agree with you. It just seems like they want to take Wonder Woman and turn her into a symbol of hate, and that's not what she's all about. They want her to be this Wonder
Hmm.
Woman that's out for blood and chopped up the guys' heads off and drink their blood and turn her into Conan woman or something. And that's not who Diana Prince is. But that it seems like that's what they want to turn her into. So they have, no, but again, it's their own. They're trying to reflect their own mentality of. I don't know why. I guess because during a certain election, a certain person they was voted in that they didn't like, and now they feel their lives are
I
just
would say they
terrible
were
now.
trained to not like. I would really say they were trained to not like. Not. I don't.
Because
I'm just gonna go out and say it. I don't think that the hatred was just all mag. I think they were trained to hate Donald Trump from the schools right
ah
into the
ah
right into the political parties. They were conditioned to hate on Donald Trump, and beyond Donald Trump, they were conditioned to hate everything that was America, from the
yes.
foundations to the history to the people, the pioneers who built it, to those who continue to maintain it, even if even if there are ones that are not white that continue to maintain it, are they're trained to hate them. I'd like to bring this up too, and I brought this up with my coworker at one point. I said the sad part about these guys that are trained to do this, they are being trained to hunt down or they're trained to wait for to take on an enemy that will never come. So punch a Nazi. When have the Nazis been around? They've been gone for quite a while, and there was a
Mm-hmm.
president that saw to it that way. Uh, Fight a racist. Well, they can't find a racist, so they'll automatically just point the finger and call somebody else a racist. Sexist. Well, we do got a few sexists here and there, and chauvinists here and there, but they're not as high as you would like to imagine them to be. And even if you say that, you'll still be labeled a sexist and chauvinistic and all that stuff. So they'll find ways to claim that a man is putting a woman down no matter what they do, or at least even if they don't have any, even if in action, right? They'll still be labeled a sexist. So if you have a woman, oh, you're sexist, you don't think she can do it herself. You walk away and let her do it. Oh, you're sexist because you didn't help a woman. Okay. I've never you know that's why I'm like at this point, and I'm telling you this too, along with everybody else here. At this point, I'm gonna make decisions on my own, and I'm gonna and whatever they have to say about me, it's gonna really speak volumes about them, because I will look at them and say, well, what would you have done in my shoes? And I'll leave that with you, because I'm not gonna stand here and listen for your answer, and hear you go through all the mental gymnastics that you would go to before you even decide to make a decision. Whereas I, on the other hand, I'm going to make my decision right here on the spot, and whatever decision I make, I live with it, and the consequences that might follow it, or the rewards that will end up come my way. So yeah,
Oh, I agree with you
but
because I don't understand. Oh, go ahead and finish.
no, go ahead. I'm done. I'm
I
done.
can't understand.
I know I had an ending. I know I had an ending there, but I can't think of it. So you handle my lightweight.
I actually no, I actually like the points you made. Those are very good points. I was going to say that yeah, I don't understand how many societies say they want to ban Mr. Trump from saying certain things and speaking certain things, but yet someone like Tahihi Coates is allowed to write. First of all, he did a
Tahiti
god
coast.
awful book. Yes, yes, that's what. Yeah, because the man is not a good writer. He's not a good writer. He thinks he is, but he's really not. He's just a very angry, hateful man. How? Because his run with Captain America was blasphemous, absolutely just blasphemous. It was an
Hmm.
insult, and he wrote it because he hated him. He hated him. That's why he did. But I don't understand why they want to hire this man to write for Superman, because I just can't say it. That man is a hateful man. There's no, why is he being allowed to even put pen to paper, but other people are not allowed to speak? I don't get it, or banned from using their Twitter, but Tahihi Coates can write, and he's in the same boat. That's the point I'm making. You can't fight hatred with hatred. This man does not like Superman. The script he's going to write. He also did a terrible amount of Black Panther too. He wrote Black Panther for a while. That shows you he doesn't know how to write characters. I
Hmm.
don't, the minute, even if Michael B. Jordan had done it, um, Wolf Commander, I wouldn't have saw the movie because the minute they said Tahiti Coates was going to write the script, I said, okay, I'm out because I know for a
Hmm.
fact it's not going to be good. Even if Michael B. Jordan had said yes, I know that script is going to be bull flop because Tahiti Coates is a phony. He's just a bitter, hateful man, and he doesn't know these characters. He I don't know why Warner Brothers hired him. Why are you hiring such a person? But yet you want to tell other people not to say something or not say certain things, or you don't support a certain candidate because you know how they talk, but yet you hire Tahiti Coates. So what's the difference? Is it because is it because he's black and he's allowed to hate? I mean, hate is hate no matter
You just
what.
answered your question there.
When
You
I
already
say
answered your question.
he's
It's
black,
because
so
he's
he's
black.
allowed to hate. But the
Well,
hate is
here's
still
the thing.
there.
Here's the thing. It's funny that he can't stand racists, right? Yet
Hmm.
racists just hired him based off his skin color.
Yeah,
Fancy that one.
yeah. That's like does he see that? Or maybe he likes it. I don't know. Maybe like you said, the
Eh,
almighty dollar speaks louder. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. He's not, I'm calling him for what he is, a house Negro.
Yeah.
House Negro may hate the master, but he's sure enjoying the master's benefits. So there's that.
Ah, now, okay. Yeah. I think you both answered the question. Ah, that's what it is. I see now. Okay. Yeah. I
Race
see
hustling.
now.
That's all. That's where he's making the. That's basically where he make his profit off of race hustling, just like everybody else is race
Yeah.
hustling.
Yeah. Just
Anybody
like everybody.
who did does that stuff, they're race hustling.
Ah,
Definitely
now I
check out
see.
Gothics. Definitely check out Gothics on that front because she really hit the nail on the head
You know what? I
on that
do check
front.
her out. I do check her out sometimes. I have to go back and check her out. I haven't caught up with her lately, but I do check it out from time to time.
She put out a recent video. She did put out a recent video.
You did? Okay. Because you're right.
Mhm.
There, anytime she hits it right on the head. You're right. She hits it right there. I have to check her out.
And she's like she would like to call herself and I'm willing to I actually like how she put it. She said she's politically homeless. She'll she'll rag on both parties. Let's just say that she'll rag on both parties.
Well, see, I like that
If one
because,
mostly the left, but like if the right is doing something wrong, she'll call it out. She'll definitely call it out
and I can
if
respect
they
that.
doing wrong.
And I can respect that because the right has done wrong a lot, but nobody says anything. So I give her, I respect that because, the left, yeah, but I like the fact that
Hmm.
she's neutral. I'm not playing one or the other. I call you both out if you're wrong, and that's the truth. I agree. I respect that.
Yep.
I really do respect that. Whereas a lot
I
of
will
these,
say this. I'll stick by the right because at least they're honest about their wrongdoing. Whereas the left tries to play like they're the benevolent nice people.
yeah,
So,
I definitely agree with that.
there's that.
Yep, I definitely
I'm
agree with
mostly
that.
independent though, so I'm mostly
I
independent. So I'm just gonna side. I'm gonna side who's the most honest at least.
Well, I go with one that and who has the most common sense.
Hmm.
that, that too,
Exactly.
the most common sense. Well, I have got to get on out of here. I better get to the cooking. Now it's getting late, and so I've got to get to prepare my dish. So,
Okay.
what is on plate for? You're going on, or are you ending it? You said your voice was
I'll be in
Sunny.
this. I might as well. I'm gonna start in it soon because I gotta eat too.
Oh,
So
okay.
I would give the rundown what's gonna happen, but I haven't started any I haven't created any streams yet so far. So I'll get back to you guys sometime soon before next week happens because yeah, the streams are going to get smaller and I gotta add more to it. Definitely be on, yeah, have your ideas ready for fun stream which is where
Oh,
we're open to hear anybody's idea for what any topics that we should tackle, or what topics that we feel we should talk about more, or at least what you want to see a part 2 of next Tuesday. Don't say it here, guys. Say it, or at least if you want to say it in the comments after the stream is done. Say it in the comments, and I'll because that's the only way I can be able to keep track of it and get a list together and start constructing, or at least sorry, that's the roommate snoring in the background if you caught that. But yeah. So write in the comments once the stream is done. Leia, get your list together too.
oh yes. Okay.
If you want, if you of course, because we're going to participate too, not just the people in the chats as well. So we I'm pretty sure Trooper has a lot of things he wants to say, and I'm sure Schooner will be very excited about Tuesday. And boy, I can't wait for him to have a laundry list.
That's going to be very interesting. Yes. I'm interested to hear
And of
what
course,
everybody has to say.
and thank you, Melissa, for reminding me. Yeah, definitely got to go to Dan Harris stream later on. So I'd like to thank everybody for attending, and same thing with Trooper for managing to get here guerrilla style, because he wasn't at home when he jumped in. He had to do it guerrilla style, of course. Definitely go head over to Dan Harron's songs with Birdman with his guest star Green Lion Girl. Um, Pretty much say what I have to say about Weekend. So everything that's set in stone in Weekend, that's what's happening. I'd like to thank Leia Plus Size as well for joining me as well. Go ahead and sign us out, Lady Valor.
Oh, I hope I do this good. I'm not very good at it. Well, this is Leah Plus Size, your lovely lady of valor, saying thank you all for joining us this evening and taking time out your busy schedule to spend time with us. We enjoy it. I hope you've enjoyed and you had fun here. And I hope you all have a wonderful week. And I hope to see you all next week, right back here next Tuesday for more fun talk and chat and crazy stuff and all that. Until then, be nice to one another, be good, avoid the wokeness. Sorry, avoid the wokeness. Seriously, think with your own mind, and I will leave it at that, Commander. Good evening to you all.
All right. Have a good night.
Mm-hmm. Good night.
And with that being said, this has been your Wolf Commander Wolf 10 signing out. Everybody, take care of yourselves. Be the change. Become the change. Write the change. Whatever. Enjoy what you do. But anyways, and Maddie, lighten up. Come on, you got much to add to this. You're just trying to sell yourself short. Anyways, thank you everybody. Have a good night. Ow!